Yeah,
What's your
he's the
phone?
producer.
Ah, man, what would we do without Big Gabe?
Probably not much
Tell you
because
what,
Frank, the boy, is handling all the details over there.
I would have done
Are
a
we
lot.
rolling? Are we
We're
rolling now?
rolling.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're live?
I would have done a lot less without Big Gabe.
Well, now before we run into the same problem we
Oh,
had
excuse me.
before, bring your mic up where we can see you.
I'm trying to
There,
learn this radio gig thing.
you're doing fine. You're doing fine. It won't get far.
Okay.
There you
Stay,
go. Right
stay,
about like that.
stay.
Yeah.
It's like a threat.
So, riding fish, obviously, been all over the country for the last little while, and you stopped here earlier on your trip, and you're back, and he drops in more or less unannounced, right? What'd you say? You hit me up at what noon?
Yeah, yeah. See, I got this idea. I think I'm gonna go back to Colorado Springs. I,
Right,
I said
right.
it earlier. If it's nice, do it twice.
And we win.
That's right.
So, tell me a little bit about this whole adventure because after you guys left here, you ran into weather right away. You then we're back to California through Wyoming.
Oh,
You've been everywhere.
yeah. So we leave here and we're like, great idea, Beartooth Pass, right?
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Until we get the weather alert saying that it was shut down on the Wyoming side. Blizzard.
Okay, yeah, that'll wreck your day.
Yeah,
I told you though, Wyoming, it's winter no matter what time of year you go there.
dude. I don't know. It was the craziest thing. So then we alternate plan, right?
Okay,
And we decide to go to Black Hills. Can't go wrong there.
right? No, that should be fine.
Get to Cheyenne
Yeah,
and sideways winds. Big Gabe's in the background, but Gabe, you can attest. It was like
yeah,
you might have to speak up real loud, but it was like what 60-mile-an-hour winds, 40 plus winds with gusts on top of it.
right. Yeah, and that's the sign on the interstate there saying, "Why are you out here?" Right? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Well, it's nice having a producer. And hey, David Digby, are you up? Come on, man. Check us out over here at Riding Fish on his YouTube channel live. You know I'm talking to you. And I think Star Bobber is probably still up too.
well
I think
then,
she's still up.
did you send out a link on your phone? Where's your phone
I
at?
did not send out a
We
link.
need phones. This is live.
It's right there. Go grab it.
Ugh.
See, I'll check your mic. Somebody has to.
You
All
do
right.
that. I
All
don't
right.
do
So I'll shoot your link here right now. Hi, how are you? This is how we kill time when you don't have anything else to
Since
do.
you're not here, we're gonna do something. Oh yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
which three?
so hang on. So real quick, since you guys are here, does it say? Oh, I'm
That
trying to
looks
shimmy
good.
in here.
That looks good.
Yeah, I'm trying to suck it in. Think skinny thoughts. Anytime anybody wants to ask questions, ask questions. We got
Yeah.
Big Gabe over here running producer style. Yeah. What were we talking about?
Well,
Oh,
you were in
the
Wyoming
weather.
again,
Yeah.
yeah, and then the Black Hills.
So
Yeah.
let me essence this couple things. First
Yeah.
of all, what studio is
This is the Tab Performance
this?
Studios.
Yeah, like the same type forms that I have on
Very
my
same Tab Performance.
Challenger.
Yes, the very
Yeah.
same one.
What's up, BJ?
We are too. Good to see you.
Yeah. So yeah, dude.
Yeah, well, it worked out really well. I talked with Casey Flans, and he had enjoyed being on the show. And after we talked a little bit, I said, "Look, if you'd like to be part of, we'd love to have you."
Right.
And he hemmed it on a little bit, only because I don't think they have a lot of budget right now. This time of year, it's hard for guys to come up with marketing money. But we found a way to make it work, and the affiliate program thing is going to be great. It's kind of that win-win-win scenario. Obviously the consumer gets the product they want. Tab sells something. I get a little something as a support for the show, so that's appreciated. And you get a good product to take home. So we worked that out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, these are the Tab Performance Studios.
Yeah, I have the same affiliation. So if they
Right
don't go
on.
to
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
they go
yeah.
to me. But either way, that
Absolutely.
would be great. So that was the first thing I wanted to say. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Dude. Casey, isn't he just a cool guy?
I'm telling you, I've talked to lots of the aftermarket companies, and they're uncomfortable at first because who is this guy? What's he doing? He's calling me out of nowhere to talk to me on the radio or a podcast or what's that about? Casey was like, "Oh yeah, we'd be happy to talk." And once we started conversing, it became very clear that we had some of the same take on what they're doing and where they're going and what they see. And they're a family-owned brother pair that runs this thing. You can't go wrong. Nah, they're great people.
I've told Casey, I've talked to him before
Yeah.
on the phone many times, and one is I always tell him I talk too much. So if if you get to a thing or you need me to
Yeah.
stop talking, let me know. I've been trying to get in their in Lincoln, they're out of Lincoln, Nebraska,
Yeah.
right? You know
Yeah.
that. I've been trying to get in their area where the magic happens,
Right.
And we're working on it. We're working on me coming in with my camera and being all like this, but as of right now, I haven't made it happen. So Casey, if you're watching, which hey, if Casey's not watching this,
Now he should be watching this,
it's
even at
Friday
this hour.
night.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Cornhuskers stay up till what? 10, 10:30?
what time is it?
Oh, it's well
11.
after the.
Oh, he's fast asleep. Casey, when you see this on tomorrow,
Yeah, check it out then. So
another thing, hang
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Trust no one clothing.
Trust no one
These are
clothing.
these are my guys.
Tell you what, he passes through here with this trust no one clothing, right? I now know of 5 people in my immediate circle that all wear the stuff.
Yeah.
What'd you do, man? You just spread it out like
Dude, I didn't hand anything out. I just showed them what I have.
yeah, yeah.
It was really interesting when they were talking about sponsoring my trip. I told him like this. His name's Eric, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah.
So, Eric, man, you're the shit. So he goes, how can we help? He goes, yeah, I want to be part of this. How can we help? And
Yeah.
I said, well, this is my idea. And he goes, okay. I go, I'm going to be honest with you, Eric. You're my friend. I consider you a friend. He goes, okay.
Yeah.
I go, I'm gonna wear your stuff regardless because it's the first. I've already packed it.
yeah.
I'm not unpacking because you tell me yes or no. And
Sure.
he says, I believe that. How about we make it work? So we then discovered I was like, well, can you get anybody get them a discount?
Right,
So
right.
if you do go to Trust No One Clothing, which hopefully Tito and them did,
I'm sure of it.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
And you go to checkout, put in Ridingfish, one word, and save yourself a couple bucks.
Can't
But
go
once
wrong.
you realize how good their products are and how cool you look in them, or whatever is important to you,
Yeah.
you'll then continue to use the discount code for yourself.
Well, but at the outset, you said, help us put this together. Okay.
Yeah.
If you look around now, both you and I are relatively new at this social media thing.
Yeah,
Okay. Whether it be YouTube or podcasting or whatever, we haven't been around forever. But what we have been able to do is connect enough people that other people want to connect with us. And we've been able to plug people in with each other. And this is, I think, you and I talked about this before, but that was one of the goals in the first place for both of us is find some place to, say hi to that person you don't know or introduce somebody to something they might not have seen. And if we could do that, not just with the bikes or with the traveling or whatever, maybe with the apparel, maybe with the accessories, whatever it may be, but it's all part of this bigger picture.
Yeah.
And you and I have had the opportunity now in a relatively short period of time to meet an enormous amount of people and get connected on so many levels with so many folks. Again, we're going to talk more about your trip, but I'm excited because we talked with Estrella Alvarez on the show. Everybody knows her as Star Bobber from Instagram and from the Indian Motorcycle Magazine. Well, the really cool thing about it is we got done talking today, and we're going to schedule another meeting. We're going to have her on the show again. But more importantly, suddenly she's connecting me with people,
Right.
like Bearded Bobber and some of those guys.
Yeah.
And suddenly now I've got this another network of people to talk to, and it's getting more exciting all the time. And you've got to feel it too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've met. So we all know that I started this dealer spotlight thing.
Yeah.
Where I'm getting to, and I've only gone to a few. Some were spontaneous.
Yeah.
And we all know Pikes Peak wasn't spontaneous because there was a meet and greet there, right?
Right. We did a big
Now, the idea of shooting there was spontaneous to them. They didn't know I was going to ask,
Right.
but we all knew I was going to be there. But I was lucky enough to meet like the owners of El Cajon and Indian Motorcycle of El Cajon.
Yep. Yep.
And then also I went down and met Gregory Polaris.
Yep.
Down to Gregory Polaris.
Yeah.
And it's just there. And then you're talking about Star Bobber. I've actually, so Star, if you're watching, I don't know. I have seen a lot of her stuff.
Yeah.
But I met Bearded Bobber. I met him.
Right.
So I have this talking problem. I met him and his wife. Big Gabe and I met him and his wife.
Okay.
We meet at a restaurant. And you know how long we're there?
That looks like 5 hours.
5 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
5 hours.
But that's okay. But that's the same thing though. You and I, after we talked probably more off mic than we did during the interview when you first were on the show. Our follow-up call, which was supposed to be a 10-minute update on what you got going and when you were getting ready to leave, turned into another 40-minute conversation off mic. But it's what happens. We sit down together, and whether it's Star or whether it's Bearded or whether it's a dealer or whomever, this starts.
Yeah.
He's laughing because
Yeah.
he's seen it happen.
Hey, Big Gabe, what's going on over there? We got some people to
Well,
talk to.
I wanted to make sure the audio was good.
Oh,
First
is it?
and foremost.
So is it
Yeah.
good?
Yes, it's good.
Whoop,
BJ said
whoop.
it's good. But I asked if there's any questions, please ask, and I'll relay it to you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh-oh.
BJ's like, I don't have any questions at the moment, but I'm listening. But he's like, unless you can get him a sponsor for his 45-day trip, he's taking your
Okay. So what he's looking for is the insider tips. You want to do it the self at home program. Um,
Well, first of all, you could start buying a whole bunch of clothing from a clothing company and then ask them to sponsor you.
yeah, that helps. When you line their pocket first. But
I paid for my sponsor.
yeah, pretty much. I bought all of mine too, and I'm going to buy more. But guys, if you want to connect with other people, whether it's to get support for a trip or whether you're breaking our balls, it doesn't matter. But if you're trying to get support for a trip or something like that, you got to plan out what you're going to do so you can present it to somebody in some kind of intelligent form. So it makes sense. So they understand what you're trying to do, what your goal is, and then actually do that. If you can do that, then some people will step on it.
You said intelligent form. That makes me think that he just wanted me to get out of his office. Like, what do I have to do to get this?
Yeah, I got
stop
86
talking?
this cat. Where do I
And,
start?
Yeah. Could we make payments to you to get you out of here?
Oh man. Ay. Okay, so this trip, we talked about it at length before you even got going.
Yeah.
Okay. You knew you were going to cover a lot of road, but you really did not have some mapped route. It was taking you place to place based on where you needed to or what was next, right?
Yeah.
It just kind of happened.
Yeah. So, we had these ideas. We
Right.
start where everybody started. Googled best roads in America, right? On a motorcycle. That's a
It's a
good
great
start.
list.
Yeah, that's a great start. And then you're like, I'm going to hit them all. Okay.
Sure.
That never happens. Because then we take weather into consideration.
Yeah.
And then we ran into a little bit of long trip fatigue, actually, I think.
Probably.
Right? You agree, Gabe?
Yeah. So you pretty much hold up down in Southern California for a week and visit family and
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yep. So that we the whole trips paused for 1 week. I did a little editing, but I got a lot of family time. My daughter was there. She flew in.
That's awesome.
My wife flew in. It was just a great time. Then we got out of there, and then, we stayed that one extra night with the sister.
Yeah.
And I have the greatest time with my sister. She's 22. It makes me feel like I'm 24, right? So I'm just like a slight bit older than her.
Sure.
You know how it is when you hang out with younger people.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we go with, what time are we leaving tomorrow? This is me and Gabe. How about whenever?
Sure.
Did you know whenever's in the PMs?
I did not. I always
Yeah.
thought that was pre-noon. Whenever was always when it came to
no.
riding.
Yeah. So Gabe and I have decided we don't do whenevers anymore, starting from now on, because it was 3 p.m. when we left San Diego, heading north.
Okay.
Yeah, rush hour.
That's the wrong time of day, period.
Yeah. So I lane split in the first time.
Now,
Challenger.
did that wake you up a little bit? Lane splitting's different, man.
Yeah. So I was real happy to have those Top Performance mufflers on, because Big Gabe's he did a lot of riding in Southern California.
Yeah.
I haven't, so I've never lane split. So then we do the whole, we're gonna wait this out.
Yeah.
And Gabe starts nudging me. Hey, it's illegal to lane split. Yes, I know. Are you over it? I'm just letting you know, he says. I go, okay.
The gentle nudge.
And then he goes, and then he says, well, we do have big fat asses. That's very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
And then some grandpa on his Goldwing goes by.
He schooled you both, didn't he? He schooled you both.
Yeah. So, okay. About 5 more seconds later, I go, hey, Gabe, I'm going to do this lane split. Are you over this yet or what? You want to sit here? Oh, I've been over it. Oh, well, I have this thing where I go, Gabe, you just have to tell me.
Yeah,
just double dare me or something. Let's do it.
Yeah, just wave a finger at me. I don't care.
So,
yeah,
I figure everybody knows what a horn is, but an exhaust makes people move.
It does.
So I creep. You're supposed to go 5 miles an hour over the speed of traffic. I probably did 10 with some brakes and a whole lot of
made a lot of noise. Yeah. Well, you got through it, and the first couple of times you do it, it's like, I don't belong here, do I? Until you get going a little bit, and then you find your groove, and you just hope nobody opens the door.
Yeah, because then we ended up doing it. Well, by we, I mean I, and then he followed because I double dared him in states where you're not supposed to.
Oh, there's that.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm not sitting here.
We're not making any public declarations here.
By the way, everything. So going forward, I'm gonna say this. Going forward on my channel,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start dropping these videos of this trip.
And you've talked about that when we were here visiting before you got down the road a little further. You were hoping to do a little bit more time editing into some of that stuff along the way, but obviously you guys put on a lot of miles every day. There wasn't a lot of time by the time you get wherever you're going that night. I don't think anybody's going to be too worried, but we are all anxious to know more about it. I mean, I obviously the dealer visits are going to be cool. The one from Pikes Peak was awesome. That was a great job. Um, I saw you milling around while I was kind of minding the store there in the front, and I always thought, oh, he's just taking a little something to just for himself. And then it all came together and looked pretty good. It was really cool. Um, but now I wanted to ask you more about that kind of just taking where the flow sent you because you came up this afternoon. You came out of you were where? It's still in Southern California.
This afternoon.
Yeah. Or
No, so
Nevada.
Navajo Nation of
Okay.
Arizona.
Oh, right
We're
on.
about 100 miles away from the Four Corners.
So that's why you went up there, shot that little video that you did earlier.
Correct.
Okay.
And then we ran to the $1 Million Highway,
Yeah.
which is on all the lists.
Yep.
Which is actually at the beginning of this. That's the one Gabe and I thought we weren't going to hit
Sure.
because we're like, oh, we're going to go do Pacific Coast Highway. We're going to go do this and that. We're not going to have time to do Southern Colorado. Well, then when we had to ditch Pacific Coast Highway, it opened us up. Well, first of all, a whole bunch more desert riding.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then $1 Million Highway, which was pretty awesome.
But desert riding, you said the Challenger did well.
The Challenger probably did better than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wear on you a little bit.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I started off good and strong, and
Yeah.
I have a technique which is going to be all over, and I always sprout it out. Wet down your clothes. It's
Yeah.
my thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no matter what you do, 100. It was 110, and I mean, there was times going through the night that it was still like 98
Yeah.
degrees in
Yeah.
Southern California.
I've done that a couple of times and I was always grateful when it was over. Doing it just seemed like work. But then you get home and you brag about it. And yeah, I went through the desert. Damn right I did. 100
Shit.
plus degrees. That was easy.
You know what I like to do? I like to match my speed to the temperature.
Amen. About it. Yeah, I get it.
What's 110 and 110?
Between friends, come on, that's nothing.
Well, I was going to say, by the way, everything you see on my video is by professionals and closed course. And if it doesn't look like it is, it's CGI.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was working on a much smaller budget than me, but apparently not. I just don't I don't understand.
No, you were very right about the smaller budget. Bro. Anything going on over there? Anybody want to know anything?
Oh, PJ's been talking. He's really just putting LOLs all over the place from PJ talking. His experience is going to be starting from the East Coast.
Okay.
Okay. Where are you starting, EJ? Where are you starting from?
I admit nothing. That's what I'm saying. 110 and 110.
We were saying it's going to be a closed course unprofessional.
Yeah, closed course
Right,
unprofessionals. That's
A close course unprofessional is really the best guy out there.
Right, he's from Pensacola.
yep.
Okay, so you're Pensacola, Florida. So you're in the Panhandle down there.
I believe he's coming by Minnesota.
Oh, so
Is-
you're going to go? Are you going north south? You going east west?
I remember him saying he wants to go north to west.
Okay, so
Yes.
go up north and then cruise his way across.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe
But I don't know.
I'm trying to remember all the stuff that he said. Actually,
Well, coming out of Pensacola, it doesn't leave you a lot of options. Either you continue.
not going south.
Well, yeah, south is out of the question. Either you continue west along the southern routes through the major cities down there, it takes you across Louisiana, Texas, that kind of thing. Or you have to come north, and if he's going to go as far as Minnesota, he's probably going to go all the way up to I-70 or even what I-90 probably up there, right? That would be one way to come across the other way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably going down.
Children of the True King, do you have any route and or stops posted anywhere? Meaning, do we have anything that's going to for the upcoming videos, like where we stop?
Right.
So I'm gonna probably do most of it in chronological order. Ooh, I rolled that off the tongue.
Just
I
like you-
couldn't
yeah.
couldn't say elevation, but chronological pulled right out. I don't know how that happened.
Greater the challenge, the better the risk.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
gosh,
right?
yeah.
So you want to do them the way that the whole trip planned out for
Mostly.
you.
So I'm
laid out
gonna.
for
I
you.
think I'm gonna skip around a little bit. What's up? Southern part.
We're in the southern part.
Gonna
He
do-
said Myrtle Beach, North Carolina, Tennessee. Arkansas, Arizona, Colorado, Utah, Nevada,
Right.
California, Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, then Sturgis, then home.
So when you go home, are you gonna go route through? Dude, we're trying to work out the Sturgis
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you and I are in the same boat with that. I mean, obviously we want to go. Obviously, we more or less planning to be there, but how that's going to unfold and what's it going to look like. For myself, I have all of these trappings that have to come if I go someplace, and not impossible, but not easy either. But you have a little more flexibility. We gotta keep banging on doors till somebody says yes. That's all there is to it. I mean, let's just show up and we'll crash the party if we have to.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Right?
I'm thinking of, I'm just showing up and then I start talking and you'll just forget that I'm even.
Yeah, we'll get your press pass. It'll look important.
Bison Thunder did that for me one time.
Did they?
International Motorcycle Show this year.
Yeah.
They asked me if I'd be interested in going, and I
Yeah.
said sure. And they go, "Do you want to shoot a video on it?" I said, "Well, if I'm going, I'm gonna have a camera." Yeah. And Doug, the owner, super cool guy. He goes, "I'll tell you what, I'll get you your pass." And I was like, oh, "Okay." I'm thinking, just come in, right?
Yeah.
So I go to meet with Doug. He says, "Can you come in and meet with me?" So I go in and I sit down. I start chatting it up, and he goes, "Here you go, sir, your press pass." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Whoa!" And he's like, "Yeah, you can come in during setup. You can come in anytime. There's no limit." So
Yeah.
then you want to know the extra mile he does it, and it's kind of a plug right now for Bison. I
Sure.
would say because they have gone. I see them do things often, but this is just kind of a side thing.
Mhm.
He handed me a press pass for my 6-year-old daughter, which she's free,
Yeah.
but now she gets this really cool freaking necklace
Yep.
that her and I get to go and exit. So we don't have to wait in line and
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So anyway, press pass was really fun.
But I talked to Troy Schultz back several months ago before you and I spoke, and thing that I took away from that, and I think a lot of the audience did too, is that it's apparent right from the start and right from the top there that it's about the customer experience. If that means that Fred comes in with a camera and does his thing, that's part of our customer experience.
Yeah.
And I don't think they have a problem with that. In fact, I think they encourage it, which other stores could take a lesson from.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's actually our last stop on our trip is Bison Thunder.
Good call. Good call.
We're rolling in there. Well, Gabe might not go, but my last we all know where Gabe, did you get hives? That you spent a lot of time in Indian dealerships this last month. Right? More this last month.
But it'll rub off on him a little bit at a time.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Now, see, I would pay money to see that, though.
That'd be a big old
right.
fireball.
I'd sell tickets for that shit.
A big old fireball.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my last stop on this trip is Bison Thunder. Give him my bike, and let's make sure it's where it's supposed to be.
Sure.
They've actually, Doug and I and Troy have had many discussions, and I'm going to do a dealer spotlight on those guys.
Excellent. Now you're going to be you put almost 8,000 miles on by the time you're done this time.
Yeah, it's gonna be over.
Yeah.
Over 8,000, and that's without touching the bike for 7 days.
Right.
And on top of that, when I was here for those
3
days with you, 3 days with you, one of them was a complete.
Yeah, we lost a day to weather.
Yeah,
where we didn't do anything. Yep. And we only did a couple hundred miles a day we rode. So
that's what happens when you ride up those mountains.
Oh God, yeah. It's like taking an elevator. So chronologically, show us the routes and do the things. And I think one of the questions the guy was posing really is more like, hey, can we see where you went? You know what I mean? So maybe is that something you would add as map segments or,
Yeah. So I believe that Google, can track everywhere you go. So I thought it would be fun on some of them if I can put it in an interesting way. That I'm actually going to say like, oh, look, this is where we went.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, for example, you mentioned this the $1 Million Highway. Most people are a little. If you've never been out there or ridden it before, some consider that to be like just the area from Silverton to Ouray, but it's really that entire road as you come up out of Durango into that area. It's considered that part of that highway. What did you think of that? Because I am a big fan of Silverton. I love that town. I just love that old history, as I told everybody before. What did you think as you came away from it?
Okay. I can't judge the town.
Okay.
because we hit 550,
Right. Yep.
US 550
Mhm.
in Durango, and we went north. I had a dinner date,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
here,
Here.
so we were gonna mess it around. Um, I think it's my second favorite ride,
Okay.
especially though from Silverton to Ouray.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ouray, um, but yeah, I did not. Okay, so my videos are coming out, and I don't know how to say hooray, hooray,
Hooray.
hooray. So I get explained to me. It's when you find gold, and you're like, hooray, hooray. That's how you
That's how you
say it.
know.
So hooray, Colorado. When you leave there,
Yeah.
when you leave, you're rolling the eyes. When you leave there, it
Yeah.
gets a little blah for a little bit.
Yeah.
But is it Highway US 50 ends up taking you into Colorado Springs?
Correct. Yeah.
It's incredible.
That's a nice ride.
I would say it's my second favorite road, and third isn't close.
Well, yeah.
That whole thing.
Yeah, that route was well, the $1 million highway. You're up there at elevation, back and forth, switchbacks, drop offs, big openings. The vistas are amazing by themselves, but the road is challenging enough without it being too difficult. You can still take in the scenery. You can still navigate the road without having to bear down on what you're doing. The same with Highway 50. It's that comfortable, casual road that just takes you back and forth and through these small towns. If you ever get the chance, and that's why I posted it, I'm going to take a moment here. If you're traveling in Colorado this summer, come see us because I can either take you with me and we can go out and see stuff, or I can show you where to start. And this is a great jumping off point. So if you do come, first I'm going to put you in that chair. Second, we'll go riding.
If you get the opportunity, you should come. Like I said, it's so nice. You're gonna do
Yeah.
it twice, and now I might have to do it thrice.
And nobody's going to complain.
Is that a thing? I don't.
Well, thrice is good. Yeah, I
Thrice.
think thrice is good. When you get to 4, it gets
It
complicated.
gets a little bit.
It gets
yeah,
weirder.
It gets wonky.
Anybody? Somebody?
Yeah, BJ, BJ's doing his trip.
Okay.
Let's go. I want to go on because he's talking about his trip is going to be tight.
Okay.
And time.
Time wise,
Mhm.
how to deal with weather issues and also the fatigue with riding.
Okay. Well,
what is the best way to either power through that or figure out a way to get around it?
First of all, don't ride out of your comfortability.
yeah, I was,
When when I called it a day in Cheyenne,
Yeah.
there was a group of us. Still, it was me, Gabe, and a couple guys,
Mhm.
and I would say majority of us were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Riding in that.
Yeah.
And we called it a day, and I think that's the first thing you should do. Because if you're uncomfortable, it's obviously uncomfortable for a reason.
Yeah.
Either unsafe or whatever.
Well, and the old school guy in me says, get your gear, roll through it, do what you got to do. But understanding that today it's a little different and we don't have to press ourselves to the edge. Um, any riding condition it's going to change day to day to day if you're traveling that kind of an expanse, I can guarantee you. So much like I saw these guys do, they dress for the weather and then they peel down if they need to or add back up as they're going to. Um, Whenever the conditions get to a place where you are no longer feeling like you're in full control of the motorcycle, where things could get out of hand quick, that's probably the time to stop. Right? I mean, that's kind of how I gauge
I
it. If I
agree
get
with
that
you.
feeling like, okay, things could go weird really fast right now, I'm gonna call it.
Yeah. By the way, if you're gonna spend the extra couple bucks,
Yeah.
a rain suit
Yeah.
is worth it. One of those things that kind of sucks. You drop $150
Right.
on something you hope you'll never use.
Yeah. You hope you never have to
You
take it out of the
ne-
package.
But I'll tell you what, if you instead of $150, you buy the $12 Frogger. First of all, it's going to rain every day,
Right.
and you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
And that is a big deal.
Well,
That's one thing.
yeah, I found that over the years, if I know I'm going to be in variable conditions and it's not a day trip or something like that, I'll wear a lighter weight pant underneath. Even in the summertime, just so I can wick that moisture off. Even if I get drenched, I don't feel wet at the skin. And then of course the wind works in my favor. Um, I like having good rain gear primarily because if I'm going to put it on, I don't want it flapping in the breeze. I don't want it leaking. I don't want it getting uncomfortable. So I usually spend a little more money on that stuff than maybe other guys would. I carry, if I know I'm going to be in variable conditions, believe it or not, this sounds stupid, but it works. I carry large, oversized trash bags because I can cut a hole in one of those, put my arms through it, and now I've got a second layer if I need it. You've dressed your kids up. You have dressed your kids up at Halloween and better stuff than that. Okay. You went out and spent, but what I'm saying is it can cut down on the wind, keep you a little more warm, can channel some of the water away. It's the goofiest looking thing you ever wanted to see, but quite often it's the best cover you can do.
So there's been times where Big Gabe and I have rode in like pretty cold weather.
Yeah.
And throwing a rain suit on over your gear
Yeah.
is incredible.
Sure. Yeah. This is it.
The
Okay.
wind chill's done.
Yeah. No, you're probably not old enough to remember, but you live in the right part of the world. When I was kids, winter snow boots, your mom might put your foot in a bread bag. Okay. One, to keep your foot dry because maybe your boot leaks, but it also kept your foot warm. Same is true. Want to take that same plastic and you know that you're having a problem, that oversized garbage bag that you can buy at a convenience store or a gas station if you need it. Cut. You make 3 holes, slide it on, put your jacket on, secure everything else. You'd be surprised how much warmer you are.
Yeah.
And now you have that one dry layer between you and what's wet. It sounds stupid. It probably looks ridiculous, but it works.
So and then let's see. So with weather and then fatigue, you just gotta rest.
Yeah.
You gotta try to rest.
Well, take some time too if you have time before you travel, run out at 200 miles, run out at 250, run out at 300 and come back and see how you feel at the end of that day. Because you'll know how you got to hydrate constantly, especially if you're going all through different conditions. But frankly, yeah, sleep and rest and don't overeat. That's the other one.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
Me and Big Gabe, we found some pretty good restaurants, I'd say.
Well, a lot of riders make the mistake that, they get late in the day, they have a big lunch, they get back on the bike, you get that, mid-afternoon slump and you've got your belly full and the drone of the bike, and pretty soon your head's someplace else, and that's not safe either. Eat a Snickers, for God's sake.
Bearded.
Bearded is on.
Yeah, Bearded.
Nice to meet you.
We've been talking about you a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
I have a picture that I'm gonna be posting on Facebook later. I know you're not a big Facebook guy, but your sticker may have ended up at the Four Corners.
Wait, what?
Your sticker too.
Oh, is there tagging done?
And mine.
Nice.
Yeah. So Bearded Bobber, Indian Rider Radio, Ridingfish, little threesome. Wait.
Easy.
On the sign. That is.
Well, hey, Bearded, nice to meet you. I got to talk to one of your friends here recently. So.
Yeah, Star Bobber.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Australia is a lot of fun.
I gave him one of your stickers just to give to her, as well as a couple for himself.
Yeah, now I'm. She's gonna have my sticker. Wow, that's cool.
So, Bearded is married,
mm-hmm.
Beautiful wife.
Okay,
and she also has a YouTube channel.
Right.
I'm gonna be plugging people right now, but
yeah.
Bombshell Biker.
That's her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm not. I'm not a big Instagrammer either, and I'm kind of still in the wading pool in the shallow end of YouTube, but getting there. And I am just amazed at the number of people that either have found a home on there, like yourself or Star or some of these, where people you connect with people right away, and it's like, yeah, I like that guy, or yeah, she's like me, or blows my mind. That was not something I've seen until just in the last few years.
Dude, so Bearded. We walk up, never met each other.
Right.
Only a few comments here and there. And I've crashed a few of his lives for he'll go live with all his crew.
Yeah.
And I'm the guy for 1 hour, just constantly totally doing it.
Fanboying.
So yeah, total fanboy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And embracing a giant hug. And then, talk shit 5 seconds later. Dude, not saying anything, but I thought you were a little bigger,
Yeah, come on, bro. You even lift?
So, yeah. Yeah. So, is he saying, anybody saying anything that we should get to before we BS all day? Whoa.
Oh, I like rants.
Rants are good.
Yeah. God, I haven't ranted in a while.
I'm playing.
I'll do it to you again. Give me a minute.
Totally deserved it.
I shushed him in the other interview we did. He was.
So we're on my channel.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Indian Rider Radio has a YouTube.
Yeah.
It's very new, very raw.
Yeah.
Not much content.
No, for the time being, it's been very limited. Yeah.
Yeah. But IndianRiderRadio.com, that's where you can find your podcast.
Right. So you go online, IndianRiderRadio.com, go to the episodes page. There's on your handheld, there'll be a little 2 thing up to the corner. All 16 episodes are there. You can check it out. And then, of course, I forget now, but I got added to 3 more different podcast platforms recently,
Cool.
so I don't know
I
which of
listen
those.
to you on Spotify.
Yeah.
That's
Spotify's the easiest one. Stitcher's brand new and doing really well. Um, iHeartRadio gets some coverage, but Google and Apple Podcast, you search it by name, it's there.
yeah.
Can't miss it. Yeah.
So I recommend checking him out. He actually, um, I have said this in a couple posts. Maybe you haven't seen it, maybe you have. I don't know. But you let me be host
Right.
of
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
which was really fun, and I appreciate that. And I'm gonna say it in front of everybody live. What's going on over there, Giggles? I have to change you to Giggles.
I don't, and I am short.
Yeah.
No,
I-
so I was curious about something else though. There's always that memorable moment, whether it's something goes completely haywire or you're having that genuine moment on a road trip like this. Which one was it?
Um, we've had actually a lot of fun moments.
Yeah.
We had a close call. That one's been kind of sticking out
Yeah,
a
you
little
you
bit.
told me a little bit.
I did
Share.
tell you about that.
Share.
So, I've told you I haven't never grinded anything
Yeah. On the
on the
Challenger.
Challenger,
Mhm.
right? The lean
Yeah.
angle's really good.
Yeah.
Whatever reason why, I've even tried. We did 16A
Okay.
and the Black Hills. And there's pigtails.
Sure.
I did a grind.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where it's like just need to go faster. Whatever. So we're going through needles.
Okay.
This is not on video. So this is gonna be your account of it right now.
Okay.
We're going through needles. It's in the evening, but it's not dark yet.
Okay.
We're zipping along all right. Pretty good speed out there in the
Okay.
middle of nowhere. And I'm not lying, guys. Out of nowhere, and by nowhere I mean a half mile away, I see these giant blinking lights. 2 of them. They're not small. They're
Yeah.
like 4 times the size of street lights.
These
They're
are wake the hell up lights.
Yeah, these are like,
Okay.
hey,
Yeah.
something's going on.
Right.
Next to this giant speaking light are right angles, right?
Okay.
2 right angles. Underneath those, it says 15 miles an hour.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to assume that was a far cry from the speed you were traveling.
Yeah, I mean, probably wasn't much. So then I tell so Gabe and I have Cenas and we talk, or Cenas, whatever.
Yep.
And we talk and I go, damn, Gabe. I'm like, this must be a big deal if they're gonna put 2 of everything and twice the size of normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, it's pretty sharp. I'm like, okay, cool. And as I'm doing this, I'm engine braking, brrr, downshift, bam, brrr, brrr, downshift, downshift,
Yep.
downshift.
Yep.
And I'm just cruising along, like do 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 do. And oh, it's time to make my turn now. And I'm inside dotted line.
Okay.
Start to turn. And it took me about a quarter of the turn to realize I'm coming in hot.
This isn't going to work.
So I start
Yeah.
immediately letting Gabe know I have a problem.
Yeah.
And I say, I'm hot, I'm hot, I'm hot. And at this moment, I'm at the moment where I've started drifting and my eyes have turned from where I'm going to where I'm about to be.
Yeah.
And it's not horrible yet, right? And so I'm like, oh shit, I'm hot, I'm hot, I'm hot.
Yeah.
And at this moment, I peek my left, exit strategy, right?
Sure.
Find where you want to go.
Yep.
And you need to pinpoint it, lock down. But as I I'm glancing over now, right? I look down at my speed. I'm fucking doing 40 miles an hour.
In what is now what?
It's supposed to be 15.
Okay. All right.
Not sure how fast I ever was going.
3
Now,
times the recommended speed is not recommended. You know that, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
should probably have checked my speed at some point. So I'm just going to quick finish
You
this
had
up
your
with-
hands full though.
So I finished this up, and remember, my butt's not off the seat. I'm just like lollygagging this.
Yeah.
And I'm instantly hot. I look it down. I see 40, which is, I'm already like, well, that was fast. I find my exit strategy. I start to lean because I haven't grinded. So I know I got more
Yeah.
room to go.
Sure.
All of a sudden, and then I'm like, still not enough. Big Gabe, yell out what you said. You're grinding. I see sparks. I'm like, yes, I am. So I hit my highway peg, highway peg mount, my crash bar. I think might have touched. I might be wrong about that.
Yeah.
My foot,
Rest. Yeah.
yeah.
The floorboard.
Floorboard.
Yep.
And exhaust. Took everything out. I let a how badass am I though that I did a 15-mile turn at 40 miles an hour without trying?
Yeah, you can
Really.
brag all you want, but wow.
I showed you the
Yeah,
scratches. though.
replacing stuff with the parts counter gets spendy in a hurry.
Yeah. I call those badges of honor.
Bless your heart.
You
Yeah.
know, chicks dig scars
Yeah. Right.
on the bike.
On the bike. Yeah.
What else is
Yeah.
going on over there, Giggles?
BJ said, how long did it take to get the seat out of your crack?
I wasn't sure it was still out when they got here today, so I'm just throwing that out there, BJ. He
Yeah.
got off the bike like he was a little sore.
Yeah, it's gets to be much. So today, our last stretch that we did with you,
Yeah.
it was 238 miles without stopping,
Right.
except for 2 red lights where we stood up for those 2 seconds. And first of all, I didn't even need gas. High
Good.
elevation.
Yeah. Yeah.
My low fuel light came on a block away, which is the most, and it's not even close, most gas, best mileage I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were pretty
But now
wicked
part of
today.
that, as you got back to elevation, that has a learning ECU in it, the Challenger. So it probably picked up some of that and may have ridden better because you were at a more steady elevation for longer.
Yeah, you know, we did notice on initial climbs
Yeah.
today, I got a couple lean pops, but then the second half of the day, we didn't hear
Cleaned
any.
right up, didn't
Yeah,
it?
right.
Yeah.
You didn't hear any, and they were real minimal.
I'll be darned.
But it's not supposed to be super super adaptive, but you know maybe not. I mean, I don't know.
But again, when it was tuned at 400 plus feet above elevation, right?
You're talking about
Minnesota, where you're at.
Minnesota.
Yeah. So you've gone through some major elevation changes. The bike has only picked up a few of those, but it's trying to find that center groove. And you probably spent more time in this range than you did some of the others, and that might have helped a lot.
So this Challenger,
Yeah.
I've been top Pikes Peak, 14,115.
Yep.
That's the highest point you can go right now in the United States.
Mhm.
Then in Southern California, in the desert, I was at negative 170 feet.
That's too cool.
So how about that? There's not much more travel you can do.
No.
The only way,
No.
the only place lower is Death Valley. I did not go to Death Valley.
No.
So this Challenger has been through its paces.
Yeah. And you know, they donate bodies to science. When you're ready to get rid of your Challenger, you might have to send it back to these guys, let them look at it, because it has been everywhere.
Yeah.
You covered some ground, man.
Yeah, we have. And
That's awesome.
I've been trying
That's
to
so awesome.
purposely hit these great places.
Well, so many of us, we love to ride. We like to go on travel. We like to, do all those things, but we never have the time to put them all together at one time. You guys have in like almost a month. That's that you're squeezing in more than a lot of us do in a year.
Yeah.
Which is crazy cool.
Yeah, we got lucky.
Oh, come on.
As some stuff had to line up for this to happen.
Right.
We worked our ass off for 2 years to make this time off be available.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then who would have known when we started planning this? We did not think anything about like, hey, first of all, 2020 Challenger. There was no 2020 Challenger in 2018.
Right.
Yeah. And Big Gabe's lucky enough to be on a Road Glide Special 114 with
That's a nice
stage
bike.
2 high
Yeah,
performance
that's a nice bike.
cams. Yeah, he likes to tell me I didn't have to downshift. Oh, okay, Gabe. I did for the fun.
Right.
I don't know. I love to clutch.
I didn't have to. I
didn't have
understand
to.
that.
Yeah, we know you have the high performance cams and that they work really well. We got it.
But it's a nice
By
bike.
the way, his bike has been right next to me every time except for one.
Well,
I did a run through the desert. He said I was effing crazy.
Right.
And I said, yeah, I'm actually really stupid. So I ended up filling one of my bags. I normally take like a lot of gear, or you've seen 30 days on the road. And my stuff's kind of full, and I'm pretty specific. I have enough space for 3 bottles of water or soda and a couple bottles of water. When I went out into the desert, I took one of those bags out, and I have them in like nice nifty bags. You just lift the whole thing, and I put extra water in there and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I went out there, ran it in hot weather. I ran it hard in hot weather. I got stopped by a border patrol.
Did you? What did you do to get their attention?
I went to their checkpoint.
Oh,
in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, we saw you coming." And I look around. I go, "What do you see? 30 cars a day?" And they're like, I go, "Hang on."
Or 3.
Take my helmet off. It's 3. And they're like, "What are you doing?" I go, "There's fucking nobody around me." So I get off.
Yeah.
I'm an American citizen. Okay, well, you're free to go. I'm free to stay right here too.
Yeah, I can
I
hang out.
pop the thing, I get some water. Then you know what I do? I shamelessly plug. I am a YouTuber. Wait a minute.
Did
Did I?
they hook you up?
Oh, they let me go. I gave them some stickers. I
Oh, cool.
hooked them up.
Wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. You bribed the border patrol with stickers?
All right.
That was it?
That's all it took. That's all it took.
Okay, I'm gonna write a congressman. I'm just gonna
Are you?
I'm gonna write a nasty letter.
You know, I asked him if I could take his picture. Seriously.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
did
like,
you?
can I? He was like, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He goes, it's public space, so you're allowed to do it, but federal employee, they don't love it so much. So there may possibly be a video that was running that they didn't realize.
Oh, okay.
But I
Okay.
wanted to do like, hey, bro, you know, I wanted
Right,
these kind
yeah.
of pictures, but yeah, he wasn't really having
Well, we were coming out of Sierra Vista, Arizona, and saw a border patrol thing, and I didn't realize that didn't I was still quite a ways from the border, I didn't expect anything. No, they stop you. Hey, hi. Look at the dog, goes around the car, and they check it all out. Those poor guys, 115-degree heat, they're standing on this sort of shady thing, looking at people drive by. I don't know. They've been to school, they went to the military, they did a lot of stuff. That wasn't the best gig on the deal. I can just tell you that couldn't have been the best deal.
They wanted Canada. What's going on over there? Giggles.
What'd you find?
Gentleman was talking about, he wanted to know how your bike was performing. You were already talking about.
Yeah.
Your bike was performing on this trip.
Hey, be a little bit more specific and I'll answer any questions you got. We're
Sure.
live,
Right
baby.
now, yeah, right now he's more into was, did you ever feel like your back pressure diminished was fixed on this after?
Oh, yeah, that was still a challenge, wasn't it? Before you got rolling, you still were having some issues with that.
So issues is not the right word.
Okay.
We dynoed it out and I had a
Right.
little less power. And the performance guy at RVS Performance in Minnesota,
Mhm.
he told me, dude, you don't have enough back pressure.
Okay.
You know motors, you know back pressure.
Sure. Yeah.
So I did change the baffles. We know that. Made it a little quieter. Here's the problem. Who's the guy who said that? I want to just refer to it. Oh, you're my
Charles
kid.
is the
You're my kid. No, I'm playing. Hey,
the true
so
king.
so here's the thing. It's so minimal that it's really hard to tell.
Right.
I mean, when the guy has 5 more horsepower than me, I'm not gonna be able to feel it.
No,
At least I can't. Maybe you're a
Well-
badass rider. I'm a little bit more like hold on for my life.
you can feel it, but you have to know what you're feeling. Okay. Most people wouldn't recognize it. The guys that are really sensitive to minor performances differences, and that's not minor. 5 horsepower is still noticeable, but not in a great degree. But the guys who really pay attention to that are the guys that have been tuning bikes and racing bikes. We're spending a lot of time running the motor hard, so they know what it feels like.
Okay, so I'll tell you, child of the true king. I did a pool with Bob,
Okay.
4th gear at 20 miles an hour. So we're bogging.
Yeah. Yeah.
We went all the way to 110, and it was about a half-ish, maybe a little bit more bike length ahead of me.
Okay.
Both in sport mode. I have my back pressure situation. He still has
Okay.
a catalytic converter.
But in that case, the cat created back pressure that yours didn't have.
Correct. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
recover that back pressure.
Right.
But
How
he
did you
beat-
resolve that?
I put smaller baffles in
Is
there.
that okay? That's what.
Yeah. So I had like just straight pipes essentially. I had
Sure.
the Tab Performance Zombies.
Mhm.
Now I have the 2.5-inch baffles.
That's right. Okay.
And then it was a
now
little
I'm following.
you're remembering
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think I listened to your show more than you watch our videos.
Probably.
Yeah. You were busy. But anyway, yeah. So it's so close. So even if he was 5 better than me,
Yeah.
maybe I made up 3 of them, right? So like you were saying, we're talking 2, 3, 4
Yeah.
horsepower difference. It's gonna be hard. It's not like it's going from 2 to 4. You know, a 2 to 4,
Right. Yeah.
or a 4 to 8.
Right.
But 116 to 118 or 19 is kind of hard to figure
Well, and again, you're talking about a bike length. Okay.
out. At less than a bike.
Yeah.
And
And
that's all the way to 110,
Yeah.
120.
and the guy that would be sensitive to that is not talking about a bike length. He's talking about tenths of seconds.
Okay.
He's that guy. He would be the one that would notice that.
My wife counts tenths of
but modern racing,
remember, this is
Yeah.
this is riding fish
yeah,
channel.
okay,
We're in Tap Performance Indian Rider Radio.
Right,
So
we're in
some
the
shit
studio.
might be said that is not condoned by Indian Rider Radio.
you
But
know
God
what?
damn it, I'm here to rock out,
I-
baby,
I-
with
I-
my cock out if I have to.
I'll pay. Okay, I'm selling tickets now. I'm selling tickets now. So what I want to do, what I'm thinking about is that if you're guys that are really super sensitive to performance, and we've talked about it in lots of different ways. Yes, if you've had it, you want it. If you want the bike to perform better, but as far as the motor is concerned, raw motor performance, the guys that notice the 3, 4, 5 horsepower differences have spent time on high performance motorcycles because you can feel it in your wrists, you can feel it in your hands, you can feel it how the bike pulls you through the seat. But not until you've done that for some given period of time do you have any recollection of what it feels like or what you're trying to determine. And we're also talking about bikes that you're going to get to a place where maximum horsepower output, much like you and I talked about before, the more horsepower output you have, the less the rest of the bike can keep up to its abilities. Um, every time you make major boosts in power, you should be making major boosts in how you're going to stop the goddamn thing too. And the same with, how it handles brakes, whatever. Um, and people get lost in that. They're doing so much on the motor and squeezing out that last, 5 horses and forgetting that now I got to make the pucker stop.
Right.
Um, that's what when we were talking that one time, kept talking about performance, but what I kept describing was not the motor. It's how well the bike behaved with the available power. And as you pointed out in your videos from the jump, the Challenger has got that great combination of those two. Its capabilities and its power delivery work really well together. Not always the case with every cruiser style motorcycle. Yours being vastly different. The Challenger is a whole new take on that. But these guys that spend fortunes on making the motorcycle just go faster or be more powerful. You got to spread the wealth around some of the other parts of the bike too.
Well, there's a reason why drag bikes go straight.
Right. Yeah.
Other dirt bikes stay on dirt.
Right. Yeah.
What's going on there, Giggles? Anything?
Bars are closing pretty much everywhere, so we should be getting the next surge, right?
Do we got a couple people watching? Nice. Hell yeah.
There's 8 of us?
That's sick. Thanks. That's not even us.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Maybe Gabe has his phone on because he's a thug.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for tuning in, guys. This has been cool. We're not done. Don't go anywhere, but
okay, so we're in the Tap Performance Studios for Indian Rider Radio on Ridingfish's channel, but you guys always get a chance to ask him stuff. Anybody want to ask?
true.
Yeah. I'm the guy that hides in the radio studio.
Anybody want to ask like anything? Am I genuine?
Oh God, yeah.
I always make the joke. I'm like Mexican food. I'm only good if I'm authentic.
No, save that one. Rewrite it. Do something different with that.
All right,
But
all
no,
right.
genuine is exactly the word I would use for you because what you see is what you get. What you see is what you get, and what you get is good. So don't argue with success. Yeah, you're a good dude. I mean, we meet a lot of stand-up cats in motorcycling because there's that certain, respect and brotherhood kind of thing and freedom of the road. But every once in a great while, you meet one of those guys where you go, yeah, that's a good cat. And, you and I hit it off right away anyway. So you could have been a complete asshole and I wouldn't have cared.
I mean, I have my moments.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I've been called, Fred and Fish and Fisher and asshole and riding fish. So
Right.
I've been called all kind of things. What else, Giggle? Anybody?
No, right now, no.
Oh, and they're in fact rejecting it. They're saying, no, wouldn't even talk to these guys. We had to.
Yeah, so, there's a couple people who just joined in, so they're like, oh, I missed the beginning.
Who's joining?
Well,
Who joined us?
Well, let's recap a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, ask us something. We'll recap. We're talking about my trip. We're talking about the Tap Performance Studio.
Yep.
We're in the Indian Rider. We're on the. Wait a minute. What is this? A studio?
Let's clarify. We're in my goddamn basement, but I built a studio in it.
Dude,
And
it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
this is kind of a scaled down version of a television studio that I used to work in.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of where the layout and the concept came from. From that studio, we did weather updates during the day. You've seen weather cut-ins that people do on television. So we did those, and then we did stuff for radio stations in the city. So it was set up very similar to what I have here.
Okay.
Only thing missing is a green screen, and I have one of those coming.
Yeah, it's super professional. It
Yeah, it's
doesn't
cool.
matter where the location. Hang on, with COVID, I think every person been working from home
Pretty
these
much.
days.
Well, yeah, and see, that was kind of weird too because when I came to this thing, um, I'd been thinking about it for a while. I didn't really have a definitive plan. I didn't really have a real solid concept of anything I wanted to do. But I had this general idea that I kept kicking around. And when January came and it was time to, step out of what I was doing and into something else, I was like, all right, am I really going to do this? Well, if so, then I'm going to go this way and this is how I'm going to approach it. In this room, we had just had packed full of stuff. It was useless. It was somebody else's.
This was your closet.
Yeah, it was. I think the previous owner I think used it as a gym, and I know
Hence why you got a couple big mirrors in here.
right. And they also help move the light around. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
But but the cool thing is that as I started to put it together, I found out that things that were horrendously expensive when I was in the industry aren't anymore. And so I could acquire a few things and kind of lay it out, and so it was a lot of fun. It's like a kid putting a radio station together in his own house, but here it is.
Yeah. No, it's really cool.
Yeah,
So that's where we're at. We're in the studio
yeah.
on my channel,
On your channel.
and you should check out his YouTube and for sure his pod. Just subscribe to the
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah.
Subscribe now. It's a pre-investment
It's
while
like
you're thinking about it.
it's like buying Apple. Yeah, you're coming in early.
Yeah, like
Way early.
Apple.
Yeah.
That's a big bar that you just put in. He said Apple.
Well,
Well, I'm more like Sirius Satellite Radio.
uh,
It dropped for a minute,
yeah,
might go up.
I'm
might
talking
go
about a
down.
good burger franchise someplace. I don't know, but no, I believe that whether the show ever goes huge or not, at least it's going to fill it's going to fill something for me, something I can do that I like to do and I enjoy, and maybe it's just a great opportunity to meet new people, And so I'm hip to doing it for as long. And the YouTube channel, eh, that is like this big work in progress. I have videos being developed. I've got stuff that we've shot that we want to put together. But until such time as I know that the podcast can kind of operate not on autopilot, but can kind of fall into its own
Mhm.
groove, then I can dedicate a little more time to the other side of it. So
So, isn't it funny that I've given you advice on?
you can
I'm
advise me
like,
all you
I
like.
got no, 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 not. I'm not giving you
Yeah,
advice,
yeah,
but like off mic, I've been like, Curtis, this is what I think you should do with your YouTube.
yeah,
This is what I think. We talked a little bit about Patreon,
yeah.
and how I've never pushed it, but I signed up for it. Right?
Sure.
It was just, how you started this, and there was just a minute where you're like, Indian Rider Radio. Oh, damn! I should do everything Indian Rider. Right?
Yeah,
Go get it.
yeah,
I had that same thing one day.
yeah,
Right? So I'm like, you riding fish, and I'm like, oh, riding fish Instagram, riding fish, blah 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 blah.
yeah,
Well, I went to Patreon and I did that too. And so we've talked about, well, what are ways if we got a Patreon going
yeah,
individually?
yeah.
We're talking about obviously. What would you do? How would you do? And you said like, oh, how would I do this? But it's been fun to talk about that kind of stuff.
Oh,
And then
yeah,
and then in
yeah,
the same conversation we're talking about that, I was like, well, this is what you should do with your YouTube channel.
yeah,
Like I know a damn thing. I'm over here, bearded Bobber. I'm like asking him his advice. I mean, you could
yeah,
only learn from the people that have been doing it.
yeah. And again, my experience with media is now kind of far removed from this whole digital world. It was a different thing. What I hope to do is bring some of that with me.
Right.
I wanted to kind of have that feel, that look, and
Classic,
yeah,
maybe?
kind of a classic, more of a traditional talk show newscast type thing that brings all of that information in one place. But by the same token, I've done just some offhanded videos that people really dug,
Yeah.
or put up stuff on Facebook that I was just talking about. And so it's kind of striking this balance between, how do I be that funnel and that reporter and that guy who brings somebody in, sits down and talks to him, and still be me and still do the things I want to do and share those. So it's kind of finding that balance a little bit.
So we don't need to name names, but have you had any interviews that you were just like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just not air them?
There's
Well, maybe we shouldn't have said because then they
no,
might know. They
there were
might know.
no, I can say so. There was a couple that I just plain didn't air because the person I interviewed was either vulgar. I mean, just the language got out of hand,
Yeah.
and that's not going to be on my regular show. You're not going to hear a lot of that. There'll be some of the same swear words you hear around your grandmother's table are likely what you'd hear on my show. Okay.
Listen, super professional.
Yeah, it's kind of a
Yeah,
little more
you're
polished.
rocking the polish. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not. I'm like the rough around the edges guy.
But you're the rough around the edges guy that everybody gravitates to. The polished guy, they all look at and go, I'm not so sure. But what I
It's because
hope,
you're scary. You're too professional.
maybe
Like when
that
I
can't be.
first would, I didn't tell you, or maybe I've told you. I don't know. But when the first time I did his show, um, we set it up or whatever. Call in at this time.
Yep.
Be ready to rock. And I was like, okay, where can I go that's quiet? So here I am. And
Yeah.
what you don't know is I try to be good at stuff. So I grab a notebook and a paper in case you say something, I need to bounce back to it, right?
Yeah.
I go sit in my car. I need quiet.
Yeah.
It was just I
You're
don't
not the
know.
first person who's done that either.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
not. And it's funny because I when I call or whatever, usually I have to call me. Okay. Because that way I know that they're free and they can, and usually it makes the audio quality better. But I quite often hear a door close, the wind blow, another door close, and it's silent. It's like, oh, you got in the car. Yeah, yeah, I did.
I'm in the garage.
Yeah, I'm in the garage. But yeah, I've had three actually. The one guy was just plain vulgar. I couldn't air it. Another one went off on a kind of colorful political rant that I didn't want to air. And rather than try to clip that out, it would have sounded awkward. So we didn't go with that one. And one that after we got all done, and I'm not taking anything away from the guy, he knows it. He made fun of it himself. He had a speech impediment that just made it hard to edit, you know. And so he said, "Hey, look, maybe another time we'll do something different." And I'm cool with that, you know. And that really wasn't my call as much as his. He asked me for the raw video or the audio. I sent it to him. He went, you know, and it was, that's cool. I get that. I ran into that in TV a lot, you know, doing interviews with people. Um, if I could get them to relax in a hurry and they got comfortable, we could, you know, have a conversation. It worked really well. If they couldn't get past that, they would stumble or stutter or whatever. And that's, I don't want to put you on the air if you feel uncomfortable about what you said or how you said it, you know?
Yeah, makes sense. Me on my channel, I make fun of my dumbness. Oh, elevation. I kept saying, what did I keep saying? Evolution.
Evolution? Okay.
Evolution of my mouth speaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
My most recent video when I was at Pikes Peak.
Well, you know, it's for like what you do though is I want to say you're kind of like the everyman, but you're the everyman that's got you're not trying to candy coat it. Here's my opinion. This is what I think, what I feel. And it's very easy to feel how you feel. You can pick up on your energy as you do it. For people have told me that's harder for me to do, that it's harder for them to gauge what I'm thinking or feeling because I am interviewing them. You know, I'm trying to get answers about certain things, share some opinions in the process. But I come from a news and television and radio background, and in those places, I did not inject my opinion.
Right.
I presented the information.
So that's why I asked you to let
Yeah.
me host you on your show.
Yeah, yeah.
And so if you guys haven't seen it, I got to play host on
Yeah.
Indian Rider Radio.
Yep.
And I got to ask you all your questions. We don't need to rehash it, but it was, you know, it was super fun.
Yeah.
Super fun.
That
A
is
guy
cool.
told me only girls say that.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Super cute is the only thing girls say. We can say super fun if we want, because that sounds like something that's
I'm
really.
saying super fun. Hey,
Yeah.
Giggles, anything on? Not really.
There's two people in your chat talking to each other for a second.
Oh, who's talking to who?
Children and BJ were talking because they watched. Here, go into what you guys thought about Traveling Tall's video with Lloyd.
Well,
Okay, so you're talking about
the walk.
I saw
Yeah.
a live video. If Traveling Tall has an edited video, I haven't seen it. What I think about it is Lloyd needs to hurry up and get all those products out for my Challenger, so I don't have to downshift either. Okay,
Right.
okay,
There's
that's what I'm
that.
talking about.
That's the first one.
So other than that, dude, traveling tall, you know, he went from that street glide. I think he has the Challenger for 1 month.
Yeah.
I don't know traveling tall. I've seen his work. We've never
I
communicated.
haven't
I think
either.
I've commented he does really good work, and so I enjoy watching his
Yeah.
videos. But yeah, so it'd be interesting to see if he ends up ever because he has a fuel moto 128 or something,
Yeah.
124 in his street glide. So that baby's rocking.
Well, I've only seen a couple of things, short, brief things that he's done. Yeah, great work. I mean, the stuff that super presentation. What I think that Lloyd and Tim Sutherland are awesome guys.
They've
First,
been on your show,
yeah,
right?
Tim has been on the show
Was it
twice. I've had
episode
Lloyd on.
2 or something?
It's someplace in the
3?
first four, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, dude. So yeah, Lloyd was on your show.
yeah.
So again, if you don't know that DJ, if you want to go, Lloyd talks directly in your episode
Oh yeah,
about the Challenger and
yeah,
about some things he's working on
yeah.
in case they in Child of Kings.
Well, and I recently talked to Tim Sutherland again because he's there at Merrill's Inlet at Indian Motorcycle Charlotte and uh, the other store. And the beauty of what they've got going, or Coastal Indian, and he and Lloyd have worked together for a long time, and they've made this union work because they were back in the Polaris days, and now all the way up to now. And like you said earlier, they were the Polaris guys. If you had a victory, they were the guys you called, and they've carried that same thing. But like everybody else, Indians brought out product pretty quickly and consistently, and for anybody in the aftermarket to get ahead of that is hard. Now, gratefully, somebody like Lloyd's and Tim, they've got Indian buyers right at their disposal. They've got people that are using the product right in front of them, and they have access to information from Polaris and Indians development teams, so they can make those products as efficiently and as functional as possible. But again, everything is slowed down with this whole COVID thing. So everybody that's planned to be ahead of the curve isn't, you know. Well, we were talking about my Springfield project is now just about wrapped up. I couldn't do a long video series on it because I didn't know what would get in. I had to work in, kind of a schedule with the dealership. And I didn't want to disrupt their schedule per se as to who they were, who they had set up. So I said, all right, I'll drop it off when it comes in. Let me know. But they don't have time for me to pack everything up, haul it down there, shoot the thing, and monkey around. So what you're going to see basically is the one video I've done now in the reveal. Where I was going with that is that I had some choices in front of me as far as exhaust systems for the bike, and everything I wanted, although would have been ideal and it would have been something I could have talked about and whatever, just wasn't available right now. Well, I kind of have this August deadline for things I need to go do in certain places of the country.
South Dakota.
Right, South Dakota. So I figured, all right, well, I'll take what was available. And it just so happened that at Pikes Peak Indian Motorcycle, they had a D&D Fat Cat. It was a takeoff product, the one with ghost pipe setup. So I wanted to try it. And Tito said, well, look, I'll put it on there for you. If it's not the right one, let us know. But meantime, I get the 116 kit, I get that D&D Fat Cat, the intake, all that stuff, get it dynoed, and then be able to judge that and maybe review that product a little more accurately and then look at the other ones if I want to change later. So,
Yeah.
but it was what I was pointing to is this whole COVID thing, production thing. Guys, bear with the aftermarket right now. Getting stuff fabricated and prepared and raw materials in place, yeah, hard.
But us Challenger guys are dying.
You are. Yeah,
Lloyd says
yeah.
in that live with Traveling Tall, I want my Challenger to be able to get 250 horse.
And that didn't light up the internet.
Ooh, yeah. So you want me to talk about Traveling Tall? That's the zinger right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It's like those end goals. But Lloyd is putting superchargers on.
Yeah, he
on
just built a
that
186 horsepower Chieftain.
Yeah, yeah. I think he had a 200 horsepower Vision. It's like
Oh,
I may
man.
be mistaken, but it's
Yeah.
somewhere right around there. What
Yeah.
else are they talking about over there, Giggles?
BJ and the Bear, he is gonna take his 18 Chieftain, his 116, and go get cams put in.
Okay.
Nice.
And dynoed, and he says he should be able to get 115 horse and 130 torque after he just gets that all set up and dynoed.
That's what I'm hearing.
What do you
about those.
wait a minute, you do a 116 or are we staying with 111?
116.
It's a 116 now that he's going to upgrade the cam. Okay. So if you're running the 116 now, what if you go to the Lloyd's cam, you're going to go like a 585 or better, right? something similar to that, like in the Harley Davidson setup. So I forget the gauging on them, but they tell you right out of the gate that it's about a 12 to 15% horsepower boost and only about a 7 to 8% torque increase. So that's still pretty substantial when you're coming off the 116, and cams will help a ton in getting that last little bit out of that thing. But yeah, before you get carried away, dyno tune the hell out of it first, and then decide if you want to make that next step, because what you're going to get may not be enough to warrant the cost.
What's in the cost of cams on it?
It's pretty inexpensive, but it could be so marginally different, so minimally different that you can just say, I got some hot cams in here. You know, the stage 3 cam that comes with the 116 kit now is about as good as it gets. I mean, and I'm not dissing anybody that makes aftermarket cams, but it's a setup that's been designed and tested to do what it's intended to do, and I would stick with that as close as I could.
Well, I remember Indian in 2018 when they started talking. Was it 18 that they started doing the 116s?
Yeah,
That's when all those
yeah.
commercials were coming out of them popping wheels.
Yeah, those were 18s.
And I was laying
yeah.
up in the hospital after my motorcycle accident, and Big Gabe Giggles over here, he could tell you. I said like this, as my arms all up, jacked up. If they total out my victory, I'm gonna get a chieftain. With the 116, I'm doing a wheelie. I am so thankful that's not how it worked out, because since I had not actually ridden a chieftain since then, and it feels a lot more crammed compared to a victory.
Yeah.
That's what was the game changer for me getting my Challenger, was that it was so stretched out. Actually.
Yeah. Well, and some guys really do like that. I tend to like a little bit more compact riding position. Again, I think because of what I came up on, most of the standard bikes of the 70s and 80s that you sat more or less with your feet directly below you, and so now I kind of, if I get too stretched out, I feel a little awkward. For example, you'll probably never see me own a set of highway pegs. Eh, One, on most of the bikes I ride, my legs aren't long enough to need them anyway, but I've never used them. Even when I bought them and put them on stuff, I never used them.
You know where my legs are most of the time when I'm going down the freeway?
I hope on both sides.
Well, that's a good point. I actually tend to put my legs on the passenger.
Rock them back? Yeah.
I don't know why I do that, but I do. I think too many miles on my R1 or something.
Yeah. Well, but it's good. It's relaxing. You get your weight moved around a little bit.
Yeah, I
Your
think
body
it
stretches.
allows my butt to be in different positions. By the way, so Bearded, we switched bikes.
Yeah. Oh, right on.
We have the same color, same everything, right?
Yeah.
Except he has badass bars. He
Okay.
has the KSTs or whatever they are. If Bearded is still watching, or anybody that's watching, just because I don't remember, shoot a comment below so Giggles over here could tell me what they are, so I could tell you.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Gabe likes to be called Giggles.
I don't think so. Because I can see his face in the mirror right
Yeah.
now, and I'm not getting the same vibe you
Okay, all right. I'm gonna stop calling him Giggles.
are.
But anyway, so I go, well, you've never rode a Challenger with decap.
Yeah.
It's true. I
Yeah.
go, and I haven't rode one with these big bars. So why don't we go around the block? He goes, well, better yet, I need to go home because I've been here for 5 hours. So let's ride 15 minutes up the road and drop me off at my house, and you can take your ass out of here. So I was like, all right, sounds good. KST Customs. Who was it that said it?
Bearded.
Sick.
Hello.
So, Bearded,
Okay.
comment below if I'm lying. About 2 blocks into this ride, I let Bearded know it's okay that we beat on each other's bikes. You know how I let him know?
Oh.
I took the hell off from a stoplight. Look at Giggles now.
Oh boy. Okay.
So Bearded. So there's no way of talking. Him and I can't talk. We don't have that community. So then all of a sudden it's just race time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we finally get to his house. By the way, I do like his bars.
Okay.
But we get to his house and he goes, well, I realized real quick how we were able to ride each other's bikes. Damn right. But one thing I was going to say is interesting is that I went with the extended reach seat.
Yeah.
That's the one where you have more room, right?
Mhm.
Yes. And so I actually never rode my specific Challenger with the
Oh,
stock
sure.
seat.
Yeah.
It was a giant difference.
The-
They say it's only
yeah.
2 inches, but holy
It's not even
moly.
quite that. It's only about maybe an inch and three quarters, but it's a big difference. It, it's something too that on most of the heavyweight models, if you're coming off of a Harley Davidson, one of the first things you notice is that you have more leg room. And then you add the extended reach seat, and God, we could put Kareem Abdul or
Yeah.
LeBron could ride the thing. It doesn't matter. It's a different feel, and I think for like you, the way you ride, and you tend to be a little more relaxed as you ride, and then as you get into something more aggressive, like see you rock up and you get your shoulders more square. Having that room in the seat to move around, oh, it's got to be awesome. Yeah, because you can't do that on the Roadmaster seat. That's one of the complaints I have about that is that you can slide yourself back and forth a little bit, but it doesn't give you a lot of place to play around.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I can literally roll my pelvis forward,
Yeah,
sit back. I can sit up all the way.
right.
You know.
Which is how you can do 8,000 miles in a month and not be handicapped.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
we should be calling the VA or something.
Oh man,
Roll you
yeah.
out of here.
So my estimation is going to be like 8,200, 81, 8,200.
That's amazing, man.
Dude, I'm so blessed.
Well, I've talked to Dan Larson, and Dan the Victory Man. Happy Dan.
Happy Dan.
Yeah. Okay. So
Happy Dan watches, but I don't think from YouTube. I think he watches a lot of the stuff off of Facebook. But
Okay.
if Happy Dan's watching, he should be.
well,
That dude rides.
guys like Dan, yeah, ride a crap ton of miles. Lee Keller, I talked to this week for the show. Lee was getting ready to do the Four Corners ride in addition to doing yet another Saddle Sore 1000 later this summer. I mean, these guys put on a ton of miles. They do it over time. They don't try to squeeze it all in 30 days,
Yeah. Well, did you know Happy Dan? He actually did that. He did 10,000 miles in like 10 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. That guy. I have yet to ride with him. I was supposed to ride in his Saddle Sore 1000 last year.
Yeah.
He does like an annual one. I think as he was promoting on
Yeah.
the show
Mhm.
that this year he was
Yeah.
actually doing it for
Gold
cause.
Star. Yeah. Gold Star Foundation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gold Star. He's doing it on the 27th, I believe.
Yeah.
So only because I'm not going to be here for it. But yeah, that dude, he can ride. He actually rode just an amazing. He did the 49 states
Yeah.
in 10 days or something like that.
Yeah. But you see, the guys that can do that, it just rolls off their back. But you got to work up to it. They don't cram it all in 1 month.
Yeah.
And you two characters, packed up your bags and said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to go to Arkansas first. Then we might have to roll through Kansas, go to Colorado. Who the hell knows? Wyoming? Sure, why not? Black Hills? Okay. I mean, boom, boom, boom. But those are the best. Those are the best rides.
It was just, hey, what was your most fun time, Gabe? What would you say if you could pick a moment or something?
I think going over Beartooth again.
Okay. It wasn't single barrel in my hot tub. I'm just throwing it
that-
out there. I'm
I
just. I'm.
wasn't in the. I don't think I was in the hot tub.
Did you go in the hot tub or just me and Matt
I
went in the
went
hot tub?
but I don't
Yeah, no, me, you, and
think I
Matt went
was
in the hot
at
tub.
time.
Me and Matt were.
You
in the
were
hot tub.
you were well
That
working
was a
up to
real
it.
hot
That's all.
tub.
Yeah.
I think Matt wanted to take advantage of it.
So Beartooth's your favorite? I have a review video coming out that I shot on top of Beartooth Pass, and I think
Is that
I'm-
right?
Yeah,
I'll
I
see.
think
Okay.
I'm going to release that out of order.
Okay.
I'm going to put that out there because it's not really part of the trip, but
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
So if you guys, just so you know, which it's almost, and the one reason why I'm trying to do it is because it's almost dated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've already rode 2,500 miles. I got another 1,000 to go before I even start editing the video.
Yeah.
So that might be my next one, and then I might jam in one other fun one, or I don't know. I'm not sure I
Yeah.
want to do it yet.
Well,
What would you recommend? What do you, as a viewer, you too, Gabe? What do you think? Do you think I should just go in order? Or you think maybe I should skip around to a couple of not exactly the trip, but high points? For example, the first time I rode a dirt bike,
yeah.
not really part of my trip,
Right.
but I had a blast riding the dirt bike with my nephew.
Well, do some highlight pieces and then lay the rest of it out around it.
Yeah,
Because then you get to highlight it twice.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can work that out. By the way, my nephew's Ethan, and I know he watches. I don't know if he's watching this,
Yeah.
or whatever, but whatever. I'm gonna say it anyway. He's pretty cool kid. He came up to me and he goes, "I watch your YouTube channel." Well, that's cool. I should
on.
probably edit myself a little more since you're all of 12 going on 13.
Yeah.
But he's like a little he's like a little man.
Yeah, sure.
Remember when
Oh
he was
yeah, I
younger.
remember those days. Yeah.
So, because you ever rode a dirt bike? I said no, and the real answer is yes, I did, but I was like 7, and I
Yeah.
haven't since.
Yeah.
So I think no is a fair answer.
I'll
So I
go
go,
with that.
no, I haven't.
Yeah.
He goes, well, we have some here. You want to ride one? I go, all right, sucker. Are you going to give me a tour? Because I don't know where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So he jumps on his four-wheeler, which, by the way, this little kid is 12 again.
Okay.
And he's pretty bomb, but the damn starter's shot.
Okay.
You know what he does? He pulls out of his pocket a wire. I'm just gonna hot wire it. 2 seconds later, four-wheeler's running. But I will say I gave myself some love on this
I
one.
wonder how long it's been without a starter that he's got it down
Yeah, it
that
doesn't
good.
even matter
Yeah, it
anymore,
doesn't even
right? Like,
matter.
we don't even need to fix it.
Right.
So he goes to put the wire down. He goes, oh, I got to go put this back. It's one of those things, right? Like,
Yeah.
you take it, you go put it back. I said, dude, what happens if it stalls out in the middle of the field?
Yeah.
He goes, that's a good point. It's my key. He puts it in his pocket. But yeah, so I jumped on a Yamaha 125 4-stroke. And it wasn't long before I was doing wheelies.
Yeah, right on.
Rolling burnouts. And I got some video of me catching air.
Good.
All of my Indian gear, full face helmet, all my road stuff. So
Yeah. Looking anti-dirt.
anti-dirt, but I was nice. And he actually has like a running dirt track in his back, like
Nice.
soft dirt. Figure 8. It was pretty fun. My clothes were filthy.
You'll leave me an address so I go roll some?
Yes,
Okay.
they'll gladly let you up there. Yeah. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun, but that's not really trip-ish, but that could be a fun video.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you don't have to put those in order. Those would be fun. Anytime.
Yeah.
Because guess what? When they show up in your trip, you get to do it again.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. What's going on over there? Anything, Giggles?
I have one. DJ bought his bike in May. It had 2,400 miles on it as it was.
Okay.
Now he has 18,000.
Yeah, you don't sit still either, do you, bro? Damn.
But being in Pensacola, Florida, it's a lot easier to get.
Oh, sure.
It's kinda
Yeah.
hot, though.
Yeah. Well, in the years when when it was my primary transportation, I could do 20, 25 grand without thinking about it, because I was on it all the time. Yeah.
I'm hoping to get. I'm about to get busy at work. I got to get back to work. I haven't made a penny in 4 weeks, but I'm hoping to just get another 6 or 7,000, counting the 1,000 to go home.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, unless I get out to Sturgis, because that's 1,500. It's
Okay.
like 750 each way, I think.
Well, if you see us on the side of the road waving or, panhandling, it's because that's what we have to do to get there. But help us out, man. Come on. We're going to get to Sturgis one way or the other.
Seriously.
Right? I mean, I'd start a GoFundMe if I had to.
Oh, yeah. That's true. What else is going on over there?
Bearded also said that he's going to hit the Grand Canyon for you.
That's true. That's true. That is true. Well, because we originally were gonna hit the Grand Canyon, and then as we left Bearded's house, saying we're going to the Grand Canyon, and it just ended trip fatigue. There's a point where it's like I know work could have us come in a little early, so if we showed up a few days early, we can get to work a couple days early. Because we're at the point now where we're about out of vacation, and so it's kind of like unpaid days.
Yeah.
So, and then it was just again, fatigue. So, as being tired as I was, I still made it to Vegas that night. I should have stopped 30 minutes before, but we just booked a room, so I was like, we have to get to Vegas now.
Yeah.
And then I slept good, and then the rest of the trip was great. Just those couple of days in a row was kind of fatiguing, hot weather, not sleeping good, and then
it'll take it out of you in a hurry. Yeah, that'll spoil a good ride if you let that lag on too long.
So Bearded beat me to Pacific Coast.
Okay.
Did that one. He's gonna beat
He lives in California, right?
He does, San Bernardino region.
In a chase.
Yeah. So then he beat me to he's gonna beat me to the Grand Canyon. Well, whatever. I went to that. Until somebody goes to Pikes Peak or Mount Evans.
Right.
I don't know. There had to have been somebody that has gotten to the tops of Pikes Peak on there at Challenger. But it took a little.
How close did you come though? They didn't
went
let
to
you
the
go.
top.
Yeah,
No,
you went all the way.
I went all the way.
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
top.
yeah.
I had to convince that little guy to do that.
Yeah, we waited at 13.6. You guys went up the rest of the way. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I would call it more arm twisting than convincing, but yeah,
Begging. It's
well, yeah,
begging a
it was
word?
like on the verge of getting to that roughing up part, where
Was
you have,
getting kind of
where
close.
you got to
Yeah.
snatch him up by the collar and march him
Or
off, and
bribery. Bribery might have been a part of that. Not that he
shh,
took
again,
bribery,
see, no,
but
we don't talk
offering.
about those
But
things.
yeah, I'm just kidding.
It's a gratuity.
CGI.
I got a couple people tell me that you are being a little fidgety and getting away from your mic.
Okay, no, that's cool. That's cool.
Right.
Just be a little more cognizant.
Are we sitting too far away?
There,
I think he is.
Oh, well, I lean all over these things.
there.
Is that better? Oh,
All right,
good.
guys, can you hear me better now?
I'm up a little bit, so.
Look at you, producer Gabe.
Yeah.
Okay, no more giggles, producer Gabe.
No, producer Gabe, because if he's playing with that, he's doing fine.
Yeah. Guys, can you hear me now? Pretty good, or what's up?
Yeah.
So if you can hear me better now. Yeah, but I want them to answer me. I know. There's probably a lag, I'm sure.
So I have some viewers and listeners in Australia. Where are they? Why have they not come over to the Writing
Because
Fish channel?
did you put
I
link
did.
on your thing?
Yeah, I done it.
Good. Oh, awesome deal.
Okay.
Thanks for the heads up. No, I appreciate the heads up. Fidgety. Remember, we were talking about the saddle sore problem?
These are the most uncomfortable chairs on the planet. They look great. They suck to sit in.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have to agree with you.
Yeah, they're horrible.
I thought this last time too, a little bit.
Oh, I've thought it from the jump.
Yeah.
But if they're too short, you get a horrible camera shot.
Sure.
If they're too tall, it's even worse. And
They look good.
overstock.com, baby.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
I know that they came with instructions I couldn't read. So I don't know.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I'll stop fidgeting and look here, look there, talk here.
Yeah.
But
Well, this is more fun than humans ought to be allowed to have. It's only 1:00 in the morning here.
yeah, we got a few people still on, right? Nice.
Good. Don't
Yeah.
drop out now.
Yeah.
If you suck it up, Buttercup. Stay here.
Be a legend. Be like
Go epic or not at
a
all.
bobber.
Yeah. So how many? Well, I'll ask. You guys are all Ridingfish fans that are probably much following here. How many of you listen to the show? How many have listened to Indie Rider Radio?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. Have you guys heard the show?
Because I know that I've pushed your show because I've had so much fun. I told you the other day I
Oh,
listened
yeah.
to my own interview to see if I could improve as a guest
With-
and as a host. By
Right.
the way.
Which is something I was going to talk to you about. Is that periodically I think we need to get together and do a take two and talk about whatever we want to talk about, kill as much time as we want to kill, and then that could be kind of a secondary thing that runs along with the show.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
We can do that.
I
Have him back on a regular basis, pick on him, because someday, considering that I've got almost 20 years on you, right? 25 years on you, I'm going to be dead and gone, and he's going to have to carry the torch. So we start now.
start training the prodigy.
Yeah, we're going the whole way.
When I grow up, I want to be the Indian Rider Radio host.
No, you don't.
So how about this, Curtis? How about you tell us a little about yourself in the background and how you became Indian Rider?
Oh, how did I get here?
So yeah, so your background. I'm gonna tell you right now, he can ride.
Just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Short and sweet is my first career right out of high school was in college was radio and television, mostly radio. Got into TV after that for a while, but along that same line, I worked parallel in the auto industry for a long time, and so that morphed into selling motorcycles and sales training and a variety of different shit. But what drove me here was it was time to retire. It was time to this is kind of settle down, settle in, and roll out the rest of the life. And I would suck being idle. I just couldn't do it. So I've been on motorcycles my whole life. And this was just the next evolution of everything I wanted to do. I wanted to have my career and my work continue to be around bikes and people that ride. So this was just the best way to go.
Did you hear a podcast that made you think of doing a podcast? Or how did you get to the point where you're like, I want to do a podcast
Well,
all about motorcycles and not
Yeah.
even opening it up like more? 'Cause
okay.
you picked a niche. You
Yeah,
picked a
I
specific
picked the niche for a
niche.
reason.
Yeah.
It's something I can speak intelligently to, but my son had gotten into podcasts and listened to them way back when they first started. I thought it was ridiculous. I thought that was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. You got a million different media forms. Why the hell would you listen to something on your computer from somebody who's, who knows who? Um, but my wife then continued to listen to different podcasts, and she is a big fan of the last podcast on the left in the last podcast network. These are professional comedians that are doing a very interesting show that I found very entertaining. But I caught myself going, "Well, those idiots can do what I can," you know?
No, you came from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I took what I knew about radio and television production and formatics and, presentation, and I thought, "What if somebody applied this to a podcast?" Because most podcasts are either conversational, where there's 5 or 6 or 7 people talking all at the same time or whatever, or there's one person that's storytelling through the whole thing. I wanted to bring the look, feel, and design of either a newscast or a chat show, or a talk show. And I think we're now getting to that place where we finally have found our footing, and it's a talk show.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it was shooting for.
Dude, you're knocking it out of the park with your guests.
Oh, then yeah.
Not even me. I'm saying like the real guests.
Well,
Like Lloyd was a
yeah,
great
yeah.
guest for you to
Lloyd
grab.
Greer, Tim Sutherland, Shane from Rush Racing, Casey from Tab Performance, uh, the Southeast Iron Butt Tour, Arizona Bike Week, um, Star Bobber. I mean,
Absolutely.
Estrella
You
is,
want to know one of my
yeah,
favorite
yeah.
ones? Is the Aussie and the Indian.
Oh yeah, Chris Keeble is
Chris,
amazing.
that
Yeah.
was so fun.
Oh gosh,
And after that, I went and subscribed to her channel,
yeah.
and I kind of binge watched a few of her videos.
Well, Chris is, she's made a lifestyle out of it, and she's a bigger than life character to begin with. And you roll the motorcycle and the steampunk look and all that together, and you wrap that up in a package that isn't afraid to drop an F bomb. Yeah, she's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she is a lot. She's
yeah,
entertaining,
yeah, very much so.
and why more people aren't watching her on the regular, I have no idea.
Well, and if you want to get a real kick out of something, a girl who is inherently funny without trying to be, watch Allison Rocky Ha, Rocky Wrenches and Rides. She's got this very good dry wit, and it borders on, I don't know if she's being sarcastic or she's pissed or she's just having fun, but she's a riot to watch.
She rides the bike with a
Yeah,
sidecar,
Ural
right?
sidecar.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I remember.
Recently, she posted about being stranded in a parking lot. So she was working at a gas station on her bike, to get it back on the road. But if you buy or ride a Ural, you know what she's up against. But she's just another one of those great characters that you meet through. And I met her through Chris Creeple. So it just keeps circulating.
Yeah, I really enjoy the fact that you're getting women on your show, and
Yeah,
I've spoke to you before that not enough women ride. The sport is so amazing. The lifestyle
yeah,
is incredible, and I've said on your show, maybe I haven't said on my channel since this is mine.
right.
I try everything I can to get my daughter to ride.
Sure.
She's only
Yeah,
6, but she's already riding, and she got a dirt bike coming
right.
soon or then later. Not I can't promise when, but she's already on that a little electric motorcycle.
Yeah,
Does 12 miles an hour right now.
I love it.
Like it's
That's
so
awesome.
like she just lets it rip. But my
Yeah.
whole point of this is we need more women to ride. It's such a cool thing.
Yeah. You know, there's still, for some reason, a stigma about women on motorcycles. Now it's going away, but unless they were backseaters, they were never really encouraged to be riders. And, you know, now if you'd been my daughter, yeah, you'd probably ride just like your daughter is going to. My daughter is a rider.
Mhm.
Okay. She loves it.
She has a
But
nice bike, by the way.
yeah, she does a great job. But Estrella made a point when we were talking on the air is that if you're afraid of it and there's a stigma that goes with it, and there's that, maybe that's not for me. I don't want to embarrass myself. This is a guy's thing. You got to put that crap aside, because the ladies not only are great riders, but they bring a whole new, fresh breath of air to motorcycling. I mean, Star Bomber is a great example of that. This is a girl that's got black bangs and big lipstick, and she's got the Doc Martin boots, and she's out there just putting it all together. It's not just about her being a pretty girl. It's not just about a motorcycle that happens to be in the picture. It's a really pretty girl who really knows how to ride a really cool motorcycle.
Right.
That didn't happen when I was a kid. That didn't happen in my 20s. Girls rode on the back, maybe if they didn't want to be labeled as something,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So you got to get that part out of your head. And girls like Estrella and so many others, Allison, Chris, so many are saying, no, we're going to break that mold. We're going to do something different. And I think they're going to push the sport forward a long way.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hear from some of my friends, look, you're not the old school guy you used to be. What are you talking up these young bucks for? For the very same reason we talked about on the show is that I'm thrilled to see young people and young women in particular embrace this thing that I've loved for so long because we're not joking when we say we really want to pass the torch to you guys. You know,
Yeah, I always say it's like it's almost unfair that we actually have so much fun.
oh yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and I want
yeah,
kind of like it's kind of like you taste something.
yeah,
Oh, you have to try this
yeah,
cheesecake because it's so amazing.
right,
Well, you got to try riding this cheesecake because it's so amazing.
right,
You know. So I don't know. I'm just I that was my first thing that ever
yeah.
turned me on to you is that your first two shows, I think you had
Had
three
women on them,
women,
yeah, yeah.
two in the first episode
One in the second,
and
yeah,
one in the second. And I was just like, okay, okay, you
yeah,
got my attention.
yeah,
Not exactly. I didn't know who you were, and I knew
right,
you were young, or new because you only had two episodes.
sure,
Um, but I could talk motorcycle talk. I love that,
yeah,
and to hear these women, they're all knowledgeable and they're all
very,
in it.
yeah,
Which, heck, maybe you should just interview a brand new woman rider. I'll
yeah,
tell you what. I have a
yeah.
friend.
Okay,
Maybe I'll give her or give you or whatever you guys.
sure,
She just started riding last year. Kay started riding last year, right? I think it was last year. Yeah,
yeah,
she rides an
okay,
Indian.
okay,
She has a 2000, I think 18 Indian Chieftain Elite. It's
yeah,
like it's the glitter one.
nice,
But new
yeah,
to it. And
yeah,
I think she rode some dirt bikes and stuff when she was younger.
yep,
But that's what turned me on to you was this like you were not stuck in this niche.
yeah,
Right away you were
yeah.
going, let's talk to these girls or let's talk to whoever,
Well,
including a YouTuber that had like 5 followers.
right, all 5.
All of them.
Um, no, what I there was if you look around the motorcycle podcast world, which is a pretty narrow world, there's only a couple that are really making any mark in what's going on in motorcycling. Adventure Rider Radio, which I've only listened to a few handful of times, is a great show. Oh my God, very well produced, very great. The host does a marvelous job. There's other ones that are just conversational that are a bunch of guys bullshitting in the garage. There was nothing like what I was going to do.
Mhm.
And it scared me because if I'm going to do this and there's nothing else like it, oh shit, maybe I'm completely out of whack here. But the feedback I got was the same that you just gave is that, wow, you chose women for your first guest? Yep. That's freaking cool.
What made you think of it?
Honestly, I didn't know. I had made a number of inquiries to other people about the show and wanting to be on it. It was brand new. They had nothing to listen to. So the answer was always no. So I was getting desperate. I was coming up on the date. I wanted to launch the show. I knew I had pronounced that I was going to, and I had maybe sort of kind of one guest locked down. So I went through this long list of things that I could talk about and what else can I do different? And oh man, I'm running out of things to think about. And I remembered a lady that I had sold a bike to in Gardner, Montana, Kelly Vroman. Kelly and I carried on this nearly month-long dialogue because I was in Idaho Falls, Idaho. She was in Gardner, Montana. It was a good hike between the two places. And so we were constantly emailing back and forth. And I thought, well, if she can carry on that kind of conversation, I'm going to see if she'll come on the show with me. That very same time, while I was trying to look up her information, I stumbled across Debbie Osmus. Debbie's in Oregon. Now, she went to the dealership I used to work at in Boise. And I thought, well, she's all over social media to the point where she tells us that she's stopped people riding an Indian motorcycle in her town to say hello. Well, okay, if you're going to do that, I need to find out what you're all about.
Right.
Okay, so one thing led to another, and suddenly I had two ladies on the show, and it was worth every penny. Both of them were great. They were so patient with me because I was still trying to, knock the rust off and get back into doing this. And the audio quality was not great, but they were awesome interviews. They were a lot of fun to talk to, and it did set kind of a precedent for the show.
Mm.
We're not going to do we're going to do a lot of the things that you would expect from us, but I'm not going to do a lot of the things you might expect from us either.
Right.
You know,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Anything else over there? I saw you typing away. That's the only reason why I'm asking.
No, somebody lost the video for a second. It was on their end.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
A couple people, I believe, subscribe to your show.
Nice. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. All my subscribers, my core base people that comment and watch my videos, they're all super nice. I've only had like one or two haters.
Yeah.
So if you get the people that follow my stuff,
Yeah.
you're getting a good group of guys.
Right on. Thank
and
you.
girls.
Well, that's awesome. I got one hater too. Something to the effect of, you sound canned, you sound like a disc jockey. Dude, I can't help it. My voice is what it is. My delivery is what it is. This is what you get. Sorry. These guys will attest to it. Sounds the same in the garage as it does in here.
I thought the first couple episodes, I was like, man, this guy's a reverb or something. Was it reverb? What is it called?
Yeah, reverb is
Yeah,
one of them. Yeah,
this guy's reverb in his voice. He wants that radio voice. And then you dropped a video
yeah.
on Facebook or something. And I think I even commented, I was like, holy crap.
That's what you really sound like.
Have a radio voice
Yeah.
even on, obviously your phone or
Yeah.
whatever. And I think you were like, yep, this is what paid the bills.
Yeah, paid the bills for a long time. And it's, I wanted to get into radio from the time I was young. I was fascinated by the medium because it's a medium that can go anywhere. It's not intrusive. You can listen while you drive, you can listen while you shower, you can listen at work. And I thought that was great. When I was a kid too, I could hear AM radio stations from a long ways away. And so I could live in Rochester, New York and hear the weather in Chicago. And I thought that was cool. You name it. Anyway, I got into the senior year in high school and I wanted to get into radio and I knew that, didn't know where to go or how to do it. But I actually had one of my teachers, I took an acting class and she says, you could do voice theater, voice acting. The hell is voice acting? Didn't know anything about it. And so I did a little looking up on that. And sure enough, it's like, oh, well, it's kind of related to radio and broadcast and everything. So, yeah. My voice got me in the door at a couple of stations I might not have at, the age of 18, 19.
Did you walk in the room and be like, close your eyes? Next at 9
not
o'clock.
for a radio gig.
Next, not 9 o'clock.
Yeah, not for a radio job, but for other reasons. Close your eyes because you don't want to see this.
I think it's my channel and not your show.
Yeah, it was fun. Radio was a great career. I had a lot of fun. I met, it was the 80s. So I met tons of rock stars. And then later I worked in the country format. So, guys like Toby Keith and Montgomery Gentry and those guys, I met all of them. And that's kind of how I learned my interview style, is because I know things I want to talk about with you, but I don't know you. So I'm waiting for you to expose yourself so we can talk about other things about you.
Right.
And that's what a good interviewer is supposed to do. I don't know if I'm as good as I'd like to be anymore. I used to be pretty good at it. I'm getting better again.
How long were you out of it? And then
The last time I had worked in a studio in a production type setting, 2006.
Okay. So you've been out of it for a minute.
Yeah, I was out of it about 14 years. But the first time I cracked a mic commercially was in 1981.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my very first radio job.
I
made, ready for this?
$2 a week.
$21 a show.
$21 a show.
Yeah. I had to drive into the DC area in Washington, DC. I was going to school in Shepherdstown or the West Virginia Panhandle. So I was about 40 minutes from downtown DC where the studios were. Had to go down there. The show was 4 hours long. I had to be there 4.5 hours. So it was $5 and change an hour, $21 a show.
So was $5 an hour pretty good back then?
and at that time for that shift and for that amount, that was pretty good money. It was a union shop, so they did a little better.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yep.
Anything over there? Nothing. We got a couple people watching. Slowly climbing.
Are we climbing? Are we getting? What are you
Right.
people doing at this?
Well, they're obviously finishing their day off right.
Apparently so. Apparently so.
You look like you're reading something over there.
No.
So let's
I usually keep Pornhub just running right in the corner down there. Yeah.
So couple
Yeah.
recaps.
It's called unrestricted.
Couple recaps. I took a corner way too fast.
Hard and fast. Yeah.
Hard and fast. Grinded up everything. But
You did. You actually scraped everything.
I told you it was pretty deep too. You
Damn.
looked at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I told you, I was like, yeah, I took this hard. Wasn't really exaggerating.
You needed that one extra degree in lean angle.
Yeah.
Like
I got
31's
it.
not up. Going this way.
I took the degree.
That way.
So
Been everywhere, saw everything. You guys have hit weather. You've had not great conditions. You had subpar conditions. You couldn't pick a straight line to save your lives. You've been all over the place.
Yeah, except my tire's super flat. I know you were looking at it. It's getting.
You're right at the wear bars.
It's gonna be close.
Yeah,
I got 1,000 miles left. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna tough it out.
You wouldn't pass inspection in some places. But you're doing all right.
Yeah. Big Gabe's favorite is Beartooth Pass. I'm gonna say, is that your favorite Beartooth Pass? Your favorite everywhere that we've ever done?
No, I
What?
really like that highway that we did today.
Oh, so
Yeah.
so you think $1 Million Highway is your favorite?
See, there you go.
You know, I never even researched. The only thing I knew about $1 Million Highway is that it was in Colorado.
Yeah.
Didn't know where, didn't know why. Do you know why it's called $1 Million Highway?
I don't actually. I've only lived here in this state a year.
Yeah, but you know a lot of shit about the state.
Well,
I keep asking you questions, but you're like, I don't really know information. So, I'm going to say that we'll let him.
He's fact checking.
Producer Gabriel. See,
because if
your
we're going to
name
put this in social media of any kind, whether it be YouTube or otherwise, we have to have a fact checker, and we then have to be prepared for fake news.
Fake news.
A lot of it. It's running around rampant.
Well, I always thought that it was like they spent a certain amount of absurd money for a certain amount of But then Gabriel and I were discussing. He tends to think that it has more to do with the gold mining that's there.
Okay.
Which would make sense. $1 Million Highway, maybe. I don't know. So he's gonna look it up. We'll figure it out. $1 Million Highway was really nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful ride. The towns up there that you get to, again, those old mining towns, so they have that western feel. But in between, that's one of those roads like we were talking about. Lots of curves, lots of open space, but not so tightly packed that you can't enjoy the scenery while you're riding it. Those are the ones that I know I've been through some amazing country in the US on roads where I couldn't look up and enjoy it,
I've actually often thought that even on this trip, I probably could have slowed down a little bit. Sometimes it makes me nervous to even slow down to look around a lot more, because then I easily lose track of what's going on in front of me.
Yep.
For example, when we were coming back, and this is not on tape either, so it's a good story. Gabe and I are coming down off Beartooth Pass, and we see, and I'm like, damn, look at the size of that deer run across the road. He goes, that's not a deer, that's a baby moose.
Oh, nice.
So now we're like, where's Mama?
Yeah.
And then we look over and we see it like a mile down the road, we see a giant moose to the side.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, maybe that's Mama. So now we're like looking all over, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I look up, and I am not exaggerating, 5 deer right in the middle of the road, standing on the dotted line.
Yeah.
And
and now your head's already on a swivel.
60 feet away from him. And I'm not hot, but I'm moving.
Sure.
Never saw him until I'm 60 feet away.
Yeah.
So we're all like lollygagging, and that's what I mean. We weren't going really fast. We can look around.
Yeah.
And then I look up, and we got 5 deer. Luckily, they went left per se.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to do any accident avoidance stuff. because it may not have worked out good. Because I mean,
When they
we
scatter,
were
that
there.
doesn't work good.
Yeah.
You've seen guys that or circumstances where they bound over the road
Oh
and
yeah.
that kind of thing. That's one thing. That's just chance meeting. But when you run into when you've got 5, 6, or 7 of them and you startle them on the road, they scatter.
Yeah. They're
There
everywhere.
is no escape
Yeah.
route. Holy cow, it's horrible.
Yeah. So we
Uh,
got lucky.
yeah, good. Well, yeah, you did. That's
Yeah.
a
No,
good thing. Yeah,
there was luck,
yeah,
but that was my point. Because even Gabe makes the point. He goes, maybe we should watch the road.
yeah.
Mm,
Well, easier said than done in some
yeah.
places,
Oh,
man. I'm telling
so
you.
Beartooth Pass, my favorite
Yeah, that is gorgeous.
road. You've done it.
I've only ridden up there once. I went up there as far as a Red Lodge and came back, and it was through there. But it was summertime. Hurry up, hustle up there, get back, get done. I didn't get to enjoy it the way I wanted to. I probably will have to go back, and I want to make a trip up in that area anyway. I like that Eastern Idaho, Western Wyoming thing that we talked about when you were here. I want to really get up there and kind of explore that loop a little more and really spend some time in it. Where I've fallen down over the last few years is working in the industry. I never got to ride. I was working in dealerships 6 days a week, 10, 12 hours a day. I didn't get the riding opportunities that all my customers did. So I'm getting now to the point where I'm getting anxious to spend more time on the motorcycle again. We talked about that too, because, I was getting a little tired of my Harley Davidson. And so when I made the switch, it really kind of reinvigorated me and got me wanting to ride again. And what's really got me excited is this Springfield project. You know, uh, I've always loved the Springfield. So this is kind of when said they were going to do a Springfield Dark Horse the first time. I was like, yes, this is going to be awesome. And it came out, and it was like, they missed a few points on it. So I'm not going to miss those points.
Right.
Yeah.
What did you get first? Did you get the Springfield before you?
Actually, I bought the Roadmaster
That's
first.
what I thought.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And then did you just stumble across an amazing deal, or you finally just were like, no, 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 no,
Well,
I need to add this to my arsenal.
yeah, I wanted something a little leaner, a little more raw boned, a little more edgy, that I could make my own and do some stuff with, like we talked about.
It's so easy to just jump on that and go around. I mean, minus it doesn't have the tour pack, whatever.
Yeah,
It's
it was intentionally that way. The Roadmaster, perfect package. Don't really have to do much. A couple of small performance ads that I did to it, and then some more comfort, creature comforts that I'll do to it. But the Springfield, I wanted that raw, old school feel. And it just lent itself to it, and it kind of, as the longer I had the bike sitting there, I just could kind of see it coming together, and a few of the styling cues came together, and then got talking to Tito and the crew down there about what they wanted to do. So how did I buy it? It wound up in our showroom just outside my office,
oh, and you were staring.
and I
at it.
stared at it for at least 3 months.
Did you buy it used?
No, I bought it brand new off the floor. Yeah, I just kept looking at it, looking at it, looking at it. And happened to be winter. It's November. And I said, okay, so year end's coming. I get the trade in allowance. I get this, and there's the customer loyalty thing. And pretty soon I started adding up and go, wow, add my managerial employee discount. And suddenly I could afford this thing. So it was one of those bikes that we hadn't had many customers land on it. Everybody was waiting for the 20s because they were going to have a different look with the more, angular lines and that kind of thing. This one still has the more swooping saddlebags and whatnot. And so people were passing it up, waiting for the 20. I was like, y'all got to keep ignoring that bike. It's going to come to my house.
Yeah. I think also then the rumors were coming out that they were going to have 116
Yeah.
standard, and it had a 111.
Yeah. By a year ago, November, we were already talking about, there was whisper and rumor tale about the Challenger. There was a lot of talk about the standardized 116, the upgrades that had been made to the motor internally to accommodate that. There was a lot of bitching and moaning about the look of the new Chieftain because everybody was arguing about the Street Glide look.
Yeah,
Let me just put that out there. If Harley Davidson sells a billion Street Glides because they look a certain way, you don't think that the next guy in line is going to go, I think my bike should probably look a little like that?
I actually, and I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I actually thought that maybe they were trying to touch some of the victory lines.
Yeah, a
Was
few.
my thought a
Yeah.
little bit when that new design came out. I
But
preferred the old one actually over this
Yeah.
new one. But
I think I think where the challenge has been for Indian, and we talked about it in terms of those three customers. You know, we've been joking about Heritage and Rogue and Moto, but what am I? I'm going to be 60. You know, okay. How many more motorcycles will I buy?
Right.
Maybe what? Maybe three or four if I last that long. You know, more likely none. Okay. You, on the other hand, you'll probably buy another half a dozen bikes in your riding history.
Oh no, I'm all done. 2020 Challenger,
Get
baby.
out.
2020,
Stop.
2020 Challenger.
Lies out loud.
Actually, I told Gabe today. I mean, this girl's breaking in. I might have to change her up.
Yeah.
She has 10,000 miles already. She's worn out.
Nah. She's just getting. She's
It's
just.
not-
It's like trading in for the trophy wife.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you traded up to the trophy wife already. Where do you go from here? Oh, I see. Okay.
2021.
2021. Barely
No,
legal.
yeah, you're right. My thought is I'm gonna get other things. How
Yeah.
you have a couple in your garage,
Yeah.
just kind of what I want to do.
Well, yeah, I like that having the option, obviously, because I don't roadmaster every day. Some days I want a Springfield Dark Horse, you
Right.
know, and I am financially lucky enough to be able to do that. The 86 Yamaha that's sitting there, the FJ 1200, was just one of those bikes I always wanted to own. Never did in its heyday, but loved it and admired it from afar. So it's going to be kind of a project restoration bike. The one you didn't see is the one in the box, and that's a 1972 Westlake Speedway Racer. It's a 500cc single cylinder Jawa engine that goes on there.
Giant.
It's a monster. The damn
So-
thing is stupid looking. But speedway racing has always been something I've had an interest in. So I thought I should at least own one from the time when I was first fascinated by it.
Are you gonna put it together eventually?
Yeah, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to have the majority of the body and frame and some of the other elements re-chromed
Oh.
because they would have been chrome initially. Some were just painted metal, but a good variety, a good number of them were chrome. So I'm going to get all that redone, get the spokes relaced and do all that and pretty much restore it to new. Yeah.
So what was it again? I'm gonna have to. I have to
It's a
Google it.
1972 Westlake, Weslake.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Image of a 1972 Westlake
Jawa.
Jawa. You guys can do this too, so we
Yeah.
know what we're looking.
So long as we're all partying.
Let's see. I don't think I got it right.
Okay.
Westlake, Chihuahua.
How about just here?
There's no
Hey
such-
Siri, show me a 1972 Speedway Racer.
Okay, I found this.
Okay.
Let me see, Siri. See what you got.
She didn't hook us up with picture one. Rotten brat.
Let me ask Google. Hang on. This is running a contest. Okay, Google.
Yeah,
Shit,
whatever.
Google sucks.
Nice try.
An image of a 1972 Speedway Racer. Boom, sucker.
Nicely done. Okay. There it is. Yeah, that's a 1972 Westlake. So what the premise here is that in those days, direct power to the rear wheel, you basically stopped with a compression release or by tipping it up and getting the rear wheel off the ground.
I'm
Okay.
gonna show this.
Yeah, step up to the camera with that. Is it visible? Okay. So that's more or less what the bike looks like. And they're loud, they're obnoxious. They run on alcohol or jet fuel. And they go incredibly fast. And you don't ride them in a straight line. They slide sideways. You power slide through everything. Yeah, we were drifters before you guys ever got your fancy Hondas out. Yeah.
Did I ever own a?
So-
I don't think I've ever owned a Honda.
So the British are actually the ones that created the Westlake, which is the frame and configuration like these. And what I liked about them is that, again, my childhood heroes were all local racers back there in Western New York. And episode, I believe, I forget what one it is, but I interview a guy by the name of Norm Robinson. And Norman, my uncle, whom we talked about before, my uncle wrenched for him and tuned for him, and Norm was a racer. very, very successful flat track racer who then pretty much brought speedway racing from the California area, planted it in Western New York, and it's continued now to be huge there.
Yeah.
But speedway racing here in the U.S. is vastly different than it is in most parts of the world. So it's never reached the kind of levels that some of it has some places. It's a team sport, for example, in Europe.
Same
Yeah.
bike or like
Very
Yeah.
similar bike setups. Most
I
of the
meant more
same.
like, do they hand off the bike or do
No,
they
it's
like
it.
tag you go and
No,
then
no,
you
no.
do a lap?
It's a cumulative number of wins per heat. They have X number of heats, and then how many points are accumulated based on what position each guy finishes, and then the highest scorers finish and race
I
together.
think they should do like track and field, hand a baton. Baton.
Yeah, boom, hit it.
Something
What?
like that.
Well, now, now wait a minute. Sport tours and sport adventure guys have those rallies where it's the handoffs. So maybe we got to look into that more.
I really Gabe and I have been talking about adventure riding. I
Yeah.
really want to start doing it. After riding that dirt bike with Ethan, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to start playing off road just a
Yeah.
little bit. Royal Enfield, the Himalayan single cylinder,
Yeah.
they are so affordable.
I'm telling you what, they look like a pretty durable piece of equipment too.
Well, if we get to go to India next year, or if I
Yeah.
get to go, or however,
Yeah.
most likely that's what I'll be riding. 'Cause
Okay.
it's made in India.
Sure.
I'm in India, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've
Well, you got to check out Chris Beeman and Mechanical Agitation on Facebook or on YouTube.
okay.
Chris and his buddy, Chris is a former customer of mine. He has a Springfield. Well, he and his friend wanted to do this ride, and they both picked up those Royal Enfield bikes. They're starting to work on the modifications for them to take them up to the Arctic Circle.
On Dalton Highway,
Yeah,
400-mile gravel road.
pretty much.
So me and Gabe are talking about doing that on our street bikes that we have now.
Woo.
2021,
Yeah.
ride all the way up there.
Well, you won't be in the show and shines after that. but
No.
You're going to have be a hell of a ride.
Definitely won't be.
Hey, I know a guy that's got a Scout in Montana. He rides it all over his ranch. I don't think
Really?
there's a paved road for miles. He rides it out there. He's made a fancy thing to keep stuff out of the radiator. Oh shit, he rides the hell out of the thing.
So Bobber Bearded, if he's watching right now, he has a buddy in Canada. It might be Jay Fast. Might be mistaken about the name, but he has a bobber. He put Victory rims on it and FTR, those like knobby dirt
Yeah,
tires, and those. I saw pictures of it.
Sick. It's
Yeah,
gotta be
it's so
sick.
sick.
Yeah.
He did Bearded and a bunch of people, maybe like 8 of them, including Ozzy and the Indian.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Star Bobber was on there. Anonymous Biker USA was on there. And they did this thing where they did a virtual bike show.
Oh wow.
So it was really cool. They all got together. They did their own thing. They
Yeah.
sent the raw footage, I think. I don't know if it was raw or not.
Sure.
To Bearded, they put it together. So you got to see like 10 bikes.
Nice.
And it was just, what do you got? What have you done?
Yeah.
It was kind of a cool little thing. I was like, huh,
It's a smart idea.
hey, Bearded.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I know how to shoot a video. I didn't say that. I just enjoyed the show. I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna bring? Those guys are pros. What we got going on? Anything? A couple of people are talking. We still got a couple viewers. At least 1 or 2.
Are we like on the background while you're screwing or something at this hour? What I'm guessing. Okay, because at this time of day, it's now what 3:30
How long we been on?
on the West Coast.
2 hours.
We've been talking for 2 hours.
We have not.
It is 2 hours.
Shut the hell up. That can't be true.
No,
way.
it can't. It can be. It can be.
2 hours?
Dude, we did this the last time we got together. We sat out in that damn garage for what seemed like an hour, and we find out it was like 2 a.m. And then you guys picked it up and took it downstairs and kept doing it. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah. So Bearded just
He hit you up? What?
like, I'm watching Ridingfish.
Ah, look at that shit. There we go.
I'm gonna add this to my story. Maybe we can get a couple more people in here quick.
Okay.
If we get
My
keep a
followers,
few-
keep in mind, my followers go to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock, up around 5:30 because they have to pee for the 5th time that night. You understand. Or you will.
So it's 1:20. So my sister's probably asleep. I wonder who else.
Well,
Your
it'd be
sister's gonna be like, "Why did
it's
you do
12:30 in California. Yeah.
Oh, it's only an hour.
Yeah, we're Mountain Standard,
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, we got a few people talking or staying on there. Ask us some question, guys. We'll stay on a little.
Yeah,
We'll stay on a while
come up with
longer.
something
No
because
big
yeah,
deal.
because I might have to get water or light up a cigarette or start swearing and
I mean,
go
we can
full
grab water.
Tourette's. Yeah, I'll grab a bottle.
Yeah, we can grab some water.
Look at those. I'll come back.
All right, you go grab water.
Entertain this guy.
I'll take one. Gabe, grab one.
Yep, I got you.
All right. So today, I I go into a restaurant and I started this new thing where I go into a restaurant that I've never been in, and I'm doing this to expand my horizon. But I straight up just ask the waitress, "What's the best thing on your menu?" And I just say, "I'll take it." I don't know. I'm just trying to be adventurous. But today I did that, and the waitress, she goes, green chili, blah, 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 something or another burger. I'm like, oh, all right. I'll take it. I'll try it out. Whatever. And then I was like, how big is your burger? And they're like, they're kind of small. And I was like, okay. So now I'm nervous because I'm like, I'm about to order something that I'm not going to like. It's going to suck. I should probably get something that I'm going to like. So I order a second burger, and they're kind of small, right? Comes out. I decide I'm going to eat this new one first. It was so damn good. I'm like, hot damn. And then it's not even that small. It was big. So I ended up eating both burgers like a big old guy. And I fed my my inner fat kid inside me. Gave you 2 burgers. You had the same one she recommended or no?
Yeah.
And did you like it too?
Oh,
Yeah, it was really good. It was called Maggie's Kitchen, and
hooray.
in Ouray, yeah,
Hooray.
in Ouray, Colorado. It's right on Million Dollar Highway. When you're heading north, it's right there. You know what's and this is on video, and I just spoiler alert. I'll remind you of this in a couple months when it comes out or whatever. But you know what sold me is they had a spot for motorcycles. Only thing I saw, I was like, oh, they got motorcycle parking. If you're going to accommodate me, I have no problem parking my motorcycle and giving you a few bucks. By a few bucks, they were $10 a burger. But what do you do? So that was kind of interesting. Other than that, I I started wondering if my tire was going only because I ripped a couple burnouts today completely on accident. And by burnouts, I mean it started to do a burnout
Yeah.
and traction control went crazy and started blinking at me and shutting me down.
Say bad words to you?
No, I say
I
bad
think-
more than I'm like, leave me the hell alone. Let me do what I want. God. What are you, my mom?
Yeah. That's your mom. It's going to keep you upright, keep
You
you
know,
safe.
When you turn it off,
Yeah.
I turn mine off often.
BJ on the bear asked if you could get another bike, what would be your first choice? And I already know what it is, but
Hang on, BJ. You're a fucking legend, dude. You've been watching this whole time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say that right now. He asked both of us. So if you could
Okay.
get another bike, what would you get?
Uh,
If you could trade your straight up for free,
okay.
your Roadmaster for a Challenger with a trunk, would you do it, or would you think you like your Roadmaster better?
I'm gonna, at this stage of the game, I'm gonna stick with the air cooled Thunderstroke. I guess it feels a little more like me. I don't see myself doing a lot of real hardcore riding anymore. I do a lot of, I like to ride, obviously, but I won't probably do the kind of riding I used to. So, no, I'm gonna stick with that. I'd like to see where that Challenger concept and that motor and frame go, and what that kind of what other things come out of that platform.
Right.
Anxious to see those, but for right now, I'm good.
I'm really surprised.
Yeah.
Actually, that you said that.
Yeah, I'm good.
So if I have 2 answers to this, BJ. So one is if I could just get any bike, it would probably be the FTR
Okay.
because I do really like that bike. But I think realistically,
Yeah.
it's in my really more near future to buy some kind of enduro bike. I can go on road, off road.
Yeah.
So I can buy my daughter a dirt bike and I can get her in trails. I want to
Yeah,
start
yeah,
doing
yeah.
some trail riding and
Yeah.
stuff. So that's my real thought is I think I'm probably going to get some adventure. I even thought about the World Infield.
Yeah.
You can get those fully loaded, brand new for like 5 grand, and that's like side bags, like
Oh yeah,
hard. I mean, they're incredibly
yeah. You
affordable.
can deck those out starting with the Interceptor 650 and going up through the line.
Mhm.
They made major improvements in Royal Enfield for a lot of reasons. It was necessary, and two, the new ownership of the brand has made a commitment to the brand. They want to market the brand, and they realize that it's gonna be an evolution for them too, to up their game consistently, improve their quality, do those kinds of things because the bikes are wonderful. They're affordable. They do fall short in some of the areas that some of the hardcore guys would want to, have higher performance levels out of. But I think for myself, I miss the sports standard. Things like, if you're old enough, the 1980s Nighthawk and Nighthawk S from Honda, one of the most incredible bikes ever out there. It's one of the reasons the FJ kind of
Let
applies
me
to me.
Google this real quick.
Yeah, 1984 Nighthawk S. Um, but sports standards were versatile bikes and they were easy to use. So the FTR is the most
1984 Night
Hawk S.
S image.
Yeah. Okay. They were just sick as hell.
Oh yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
Um, but what offered those guys, those bikes offered a lot of versatility. They were easy to ride. They were fun to ride, but you could ride fast and aggressive on them too. And so I would lean towards the FTR. I've also leaned towards the retro Kawasaki 900. That Z1 mock-up that they did. I'm not looking at the cafe style or the WR 800 or anything like that, but um,
What about you, BJ? What would you
yeah,
What
probably
would
something
you
along
get?
those lines.
Have you rode an FTR yet?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't ride it like I didn't ride it like a maniac when I first got on it, but I did find that I got really comfortable real fast. I really felt familiar with the bike, and I think a lot of it is because this is just an opinion, you guys, but I think Indian missed the mark just slightly with that motorcycle. When it was promoted and being produced and developed, which by the way was long before the racing team was doing so well, everybody was talking about wanting to bring a flat tracker to the street, which if you really think about it, you don't want to do. That's not what you want to do. You can create the look a little bit, but you don't want a flat track motorcycle on the road. Okay, you just don't. But in their attempt to satisfy that group, they missed a big group that they could have marketed that motorcycle to, guys like me. I came up on those sports standards. Those are very familiar to me. They feel like bikes I'm familiar with. And now to have that up level of performance and technology and the things that they've added to that motorcycle, um, I think they missed the mark. I think they wanted to go a little too young, too fast with it. If they started selling it to me and then pitched it down the line, you might have seen a different result.
I The FTR. It is a really it is a really fun bike.
Oh yeah.
I think that they really pushed the S model a
Mhm.
lot, like in all the advertisings and
Yeah.
stuff like that. The other day, I was talking to a guy online. And I don't remember where it was or what, but he was just like, "Well, they're too expensive." And I go, "Dude, you can get onto one of those for 11 grand."
Yeah.
Oh no, they're like 18. I'm like, no, 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 no,
No,
no.
the race replica with freight setup,
Right,
tax title dock, though. Yeah, now you're talking 17 grand.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I said, no, 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 no. They have some for like 11 grand, dude.
Mhm.
I go, they don't have some of the gadgets.
Right.
And he then comments back to me about 15 minutes later.
Mhm.
It was like a pretty snap thing.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Holy crap, you're right." Now, that being said, that's
Yeah.
really a missed mark. If that guy thinks his only option is
Right.
this 17 or $18,000 thing, and he doesn't realize that he has a $12,000 option, and it seems like a doesn't seem like a lot, but some people that 6 grand, that's a third more money,
Yeah.
or a
And
50% increase
yeah,
actually.
and you have to look at how the auto industry has gone through it forever. Motorcycling is experiencing it now probably more than ever. How do you allocate marketing and advertising dollars? How do you promote brand and image those bikes when they can do so many different things? Who do you choose to point them at first? You know, sometimes you point them right at the right guy the first time and everybody wins. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes, well, I'll give you a great example from history. if you don't mind letting going back a little ways. The GL 1000 Honda. Ever heard of it?
Mhm.
Okay. Sure you have. It became a Goldwing.
Oh,
Okay. The GL 1000 was a answer to the other major manufacturers having these big bore, 1,000+ liter motorcycles out there that guys were doing all kinds of things with. But Honda got the idea that, well, let's build a great big one like that that's super powerful, super smooth, and see where it goes. And they immediately caught on to people using it like a touring bike. Now all of a sudden, guys were riding further and longer and adding fairings and bags. And suddenly, by the 1980s, you had one, two, three, four. Yeah, yeah. At some point, you had 4 or 5 different gold wing models out there. The Aspen K, the Interstate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then versions of those, the Aspen KGL, and then the bigger ones. So it was supposed to be this performance sport standard, and instead it turned into a touring bike. I think some of that happens sometimes too. We talked last time about the Suzuki M109R,
mhm.
marketed as their big luxury bike for a long time. With after they had kind of walked away from the touring models. Well, it wasn't that. It was a big, wide tire shaft drive, go fast in a straight line bike, which is now getting a little long in the tooth, but still being sold. Kawasaki's Voyager, which was an evolution of their Nomad, which is a windshield and hard bags and a built-in second seat. Some of those things that were aimed right at those specific audiences, man, they hit right away and they were spot on. Sometimes, though, the motorcycle finds a home in a place that it wasn't where the builder didn't think it would land.
Right.
I think that's going to happen to the FTR. I think the guy that was all kinds of excited about it, power and performance and dirt tracking and all that stuff and cross use. The bike can be ridden off road, but it's never going to shine there. Okay. It's either going to shine in one venue or the other. And I think that trying to sell it to the flat track enthusiast or the win on Saturday, buy on Monday guy was probably not the way to go. Had you come to me and said, hey, guess what? We've built a modern sports standard that you can hang stuff on and we got a ton of accessories for. I'd go, really? Tell me more. Because that's what I came up on. That's what I grew up riding.
Then they turn to me and they say, whatever, change
Yeah.
it up a little bit.
Yeah. But they're going to go to you and say, hey, this thing's got wheelie mitigation. And you're going to go, well, can I turn it off?
Yeah.
You know?
So I test rode one.
Yeah.
Like a light, was like a light fun video.
Yeah.
Me and two buddies go to Bison Thunder, and I went up to Troy and I go, Troy. He goes, what's up, Fred? Kind of like I'm bugging him. Kind of like, what are you about to ask?
Yeah. You're going to lay something on me.
I go, I need a Challenger, an FTR, and a bobber right now, and we're gonna be back in a little while. He goes, all of you? And I go, yep. And we're not buying anything, but I'm gonna shoot a video and we're gonna have fun. He's
Okay.
like, all right, I'll go pull him around. And I wrote a bobber, and it was actually only because Bearded was telling me,
Okay.
he kept saying bobber, 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 bobber.
Right.
I was like, I've never rode one. I want to go ride this little rocket ship. And it
Yeah.
is pretty fun. And his is all souped up and stuff. But
Yeah.
so then my buddy's on the FTR,
Okay.
and he goes, hey, I'm gonna put this in sport mode. Well, I'm thinking like my Challenger, right?
Yeah.
There's no other mode. He goes, well, there's track mode. I go,
Yeah.
you probably don't want track mode though.
Yeah,
That sounds
stick
like
with
a
what you
little
got.
bit- Yeah, stay in sport. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, sounds good. So then fast forward, we get to a gas station, we switch bikes.
Mhm.
My one buddy on the Challenger goes, no, I'm gonna stay on the Challenger. And then I say, I'll take the FTR, and we switch bikes. I pull out and I'm pulling wheelies like ridiculous, like the easiest thing. And I'm probably on this a little hard. We get back to the thing. I started doing my research for my review video.
Yeah.
And when you put it in sport mode, wheelie mitigation's turned off.
Now you know.
Now I know. And I was like,
I had a
dude,
feeling that's where we're gonna get.
yeah. So
I discovered I can't turn that off.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, my understanding. So how does wheelie mitigation work? Do you know the details of it? Like
I-
it lets you hold a certain degree or something? Is
Yeah.
that right?
There's a multi-axis sensor that if it detects something over, I forget what the measurement is, but there's a certain threshold that it then basically starts to break a little bit for you and stops to, tries to put you back on the ground. But that sensoring system alone, it covers pitch, yaw, lean angle, uh, brake dive, rear slide, and then front coming up. And so it uh, think of it like a one of those circular type levels.
Mhm.
Okay, where the ball and the dot, the bubble can move all over in it.
Yeah.
Pretty much as soon as it falls into certain ranges, then it
So
triggers it to do certain things. Yeah,
because well, somebody was telling me, there's like, well, you can pull a wheelie and you can just hold it there and it will just keep it at the same thing.
yeah.
And I'm like,
But you're fighting the system to do that.
yeah,
Yeah, it's telling you to stop, and you're telling it no.
yeah. Well, my thought was I screwed up. I should have put it in standard because that sounds freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know.
No,
That
but
was my wheelie mitigation.
yeah.
Anybody else talking in there? No. We got a few.
Oh,
We
hey,
still
let me
got a couple
BJ. I'll
people
tell
watching.
you one other bike that I would own. To this day, I would still buy it. I would buy a Kawasaki Concours tomorrow. It's based on the ZX 1400. Okay. It's got a little different look, a little different ergonomics. But if you want to go really, really fast through really, really twisty roads and still have your girl on the back and your luggage with you, you can do it on that. We talked before. I've never really leaned toward that sport touring thing. I've tried it a couple of times on different bikes and it never quite suited me. But I'm getting to that age where I'd like to have a bike that I could throw into a corner at 80 and know it was going to stick and kind of get those race feels back, from the old days. And yeah, don't get old. That sucks. But um, there's times when I really want to stick something to the ground and put my knee down and, lean into it.
My cousin in Arkansas, I believe that's what he had, and he just sold it for a Goldwing.
Yeah.
I say just
Yeah.
like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
which is, you know what, a Goldwing. Their lean angles are pretty strong too.
They are now. That bike used to have a high lean angle, but it was almost impossible to get it into that scenario. Just it was just the geometry and the gyroscopic motion of the bike was hard to lean into some corners, at least aggressively. You could easily back and forth. But with some of the mods they're now trying to make to that bike, and they made it lighter. They've changed suspensions. They've done a variety of things to it now to try to bring that bike back into the fold. It's a shame because again, a technological marvel that for some reason got ignored for a lot of years and a lot of R&D dollars didn't get spent till they got to the place where it was so long in the tooth. Even longtime Goldwing owners were like, yeah, no, we got to look elsewhere. It's weird, strange, because that was the motorcycle to travel on. If you were going to go do what you just got done doing, no one would think twice if that was the only bike you had. That's the one it was called for. Um, and I'm glad to see that change. We talked last time about how some of the Japanese brands have walked away from certain motorcycle segments, and I'm glad to see, and I hope they succeed. That Honda is really going to make a recommitment to that bike in particular because I think it's a wonderful motorcycle.
They made a move to take a majority of those bikes and make them automatics. I don't think that's a good move.
Well,
I think they're pointing to an older guy that's like, oh, here, but you're dying off. You're gonna sell 'em
simplicity of
once.
operation is a big deal. The older you get, the less coordination you have between all four appendages working together. Right, left hand, right, left leg, both have to do something. And keep in mind that there's guys that return to motorcycling after long times away from it. And if they can walk into a very comfortable, very big, very luxurious, very comfortable to ride motorcycle, it is almost foolproof that you don't, it takes some of the margin of error out.
Yeah,
They're going to do it.
I just think it's a big old scooter.
It is a big old scooter, but
I mean, it
for a
doesn't.
guy who wants to ride a big old scooter,
Yeah, I mean, that motor they put in there is incredible.
oh, it's absurd.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the things they do.
Yeah.
I saw a thing. It was like they took the same professional racer,
Yeah.
they time raced it on one of their CBR 1000s,
Yeah.
and then they put him on a fully dressed Goldwing,
Yeah.
and they had him go on the fully dressed Goldwing, and he was like a second and a half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, think about how
Yeah.
incredibly insane that is.
But this is why I've been so disappointed in motorcycling up until I guess really the reintroduction of the Indian brand is that we were getting the same old out of Milwaukee. Okay. Yeah, it looked different, or they, did this or did that. They threw something in the mix here or there. That was bugging me because that seemed lazy. And then brands that I had counted on to continue to push that envelope or develop or stay in certain market segments walked away from them. I didn't mention it last time, but Honda's BTX 1800. There are still guys out there that are in love with that motorcycle. The BTX 1800 motor was a marvelous motor. People argued that not the case, and then of course Honda built the 1300. They stepped down rather than stepping up because where do you go from 1800? You know, ask Kawasaki. They tried it with a 2000. Nobody gave a shit. You know, the bike didn't perform all that much better. But it was a great bike with a variety of different style sets, letter designations, and that kind of thing, from a vintage look to a hot rod look. An amazing bike, great bike in every respect. And Honda says, you know what? We're not selling enough of those. We're going to build some more dirt bikes. We're not going to do that anymore. So all of a sudden, the choices get narrowed and narrowed and narrowed and narrowed, and nobody's putting money into the power baggers, or even the kind of innovation that Indians brought to the table, just in a simple thing like this, a bagger with a windshield, like the Springfield. Underneath its skin, it's still got the backbone frame, the steel cradle. It's still got all of the things that make the Indian motorcycle a better handling and riding bike, but now in that stripped down austere way. I'm just surprised that the major Japanese manufacturers haven't continued to try to find their niche in that market.
Yeah, I think everybody's starting to go to this adventure.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
a lot of that.
yeah, and modern riders, and you're not even a good example of it. But modern riders are looking for bikes like we talked about that have this higher level of versatility. I can only afford one, maybe two, so I don't want to limit myself. Is how most new riders are coming to it. And guys that have spent time on the street will tell you, um, hey, every once in a while, you wish there was a dirt bike sitting in the garage. And now the modern sport adventure bike and sport touring or adventure touring bikes are so road capable, and they're more than capable on the dirt. There's not a lot lost in the translation. You can enjoy them equally. Um, Honda, again, Honda found grooves that worked, and so did Suzuki with the V-Strom. V-Strom, I don't know that it was ever really aimed at the dirt side of the thing, but did very well there, and people adapted it to doing that. And Suzuki followed suit and said, "Yeah, we'll come with you. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah,
Sure, yeah, let's do that.
We can make this
Yeah,
work.
yeah. Wink, wink. We were with you.
Yeah.
Um,
You guys read our mind. That was our secret.
yeah. And so that's kind of where that got all started. And Honda's Africa Twin, again, affordable, accessible, easy bike to ride. Um, you might not take it through the Himalayan mountains, but it'll do most everything else real well. And then go back to the original, crossover, if you will. The KLR 650, Kawasaki's KLR 650 was really that first full size street legal dirt bike, crossover type bike. And the running joke is true. The only two things that are going to survive nuclear war are cockroaches and KLRs. You can't beat the thing to death. It just keeps running.
Yeah.
So knowing that that's where the roots of that were, and seeing where it's gone now, and really incorporating that street side to those bikes, I think that's the next big explosion in the industry. It's already huge, but it's getting bigger.
Yeah. Well, all the rumors are out that Harley has that Pan America coming
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
So would assume that's a big push, which is funny because I'm falling right into that group.
Sure.
Right into it.
Yeah.
Somehow,
Well,
it just so happens. I don't know why or how it
it,
started getting to me, but
right.
2 years ago I started planning this trip to India,
Mhm.
and then that falls through. And in the meantime, I haven't lost the interest.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, well, how the hell, do these guys know? But
Right.
I don't know. What do we got going on over there? Anything, boss man? Still got a couple of people watching.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, they've got it turned down. They fell asleep an hour ago.
And there's 9 people that wanted me, so 8.
So 8 people watching us.
So those 8 people, that's an even number. Can we expect that some might be together? No.
No.
Okay. All right. Are you all running solo? Sorry to hear that.
Well,
So let me do one more thing before you get away from the Tap Performance Studios. Again,
that helped. That was,
you
Riding
guys,
Fish was brought here by trustnooneclothing.com.
right? And God, this is terrible. Pretty soon we're going to be dressed like NASCAR, But I wanted to ask you guys both: did you have a good time? Was it worth it? Is it one of those things that will stick with you forever? And what would you tell somebody now that you've done 8,000 miles inside 30 days? What's something they need to know? What's a heads up? If you were gonna tell somebody, hey, I just got done doing this, they were gonna do the same thing, what would they need to know?
So, don't try to edit videos all night long and then get up early the next day.
Okay.
It makes for a rough one.
Yeah.
Because a couple of those videos that I did get out, those are start and you're not done until you're done.
Yeah.
5-6 hours.
Phew.
I will say it was worth it. I've had a blast.
Good.
I really have. Just the people that we've met. You know how many looks that we've gotten there? Though it was in New Mexico or whatever. The guy goes, Minnesota. Holy crap! You're super far from here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, we're on our way back from San Diego.
You're right. Been around. Now wait a minute. While we're one last point then. You got recognized in San Diego.
I did. Yeah.
Tell me how that happened. I mean, what's it like, man? Somebody walks up and say, "Hey, you're."
Yeah. So that was really weird.
Yeah.
The guy's name was Sam,
Okay.
and I know that because I was at Indian of El Cajon
Mhm.
doing it. Well, they did some stuff to my bike. I needed the oil change, had to be done.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like at a stuck point.
Yeah.
So I went to them and asked them. Well, I also had asked people in the industry, who's a really good dealership, or
Yeah.
not in the industry, but motorcycle guys.
Mhm.
They're like, well, the word on the street is El Cajon's really good.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's actually perfect because I literally am going to be right in that
Yeah.
region. I was like, all right, this is going to be perfect. So
Yeah.
I end up going in there and they get me in, and I'm kind of talking to the owners. It's owned by 3 guys.
Mhm.
I'm talking to 2 of the 3, but they're being really cool. We're just kind of talking it
Yeah.
out. And I said, how about I do this little dealer spotlight thing on you guys? If you're welcome and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So then they go, okay. I go, well, my bike's not going to be done for a while anyway, so I might as well kill some time. So we start talking about it, and some guy walks up and goes, you're riding fish. Yeah, that's me. My sister started cracking up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gabe hates it because he always says my head gets bigger. But you know what I really think? I think it's cool.
Yeah.
He had a black dark horse Challenger.
Nice.
He was picking up his windshield, and we were able to start. He started asking me about tab, and
Yep. Yep.
and we were discussing cat delete, and he did tell me at the end he's going to end up getting. So lives in California, I think, but they
Yeah.
got some weird rules out there about mufflers and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's going to work on it. But he said yeah, I think I'm going to get the zombies.
Nice.
I said, you can't go wrong.
No.
There's no way you go wrong with those. And I go, well, are you getting the cat delete?
Yeah.
And the answer is really no. He's not going to do that because he can't in California.
Right.
I said, then you'll be fine. The
Oh, yeah.
zombies are incredible.
Yeah.
You're going to love them. So actually, I'm going to put him in my video.
That's cool.
He had been a customer there for a while. He bought 2 or 3 motorcycles from them. And so I was like, well, good. Then you tell me, honestly, are these
Yeah.
guys good?
Yeah.
Are they that good that I'm hearing? And he agreed. He thought they were. And I was like, well, I didn't pay you, right? He goes, well, you did just give me a sticker. Again, the sticker. It's
Right.
That's twice now.
Yeah. Well, I guess the dentists and doctors are giving them out now, so
That's
we
true.
might as well.
Other than that, yeah, today as I was riding in, started thinking like, am I really ready to go back to normal work? How could I make this a full-time gig?
Yeah.
What about you, Gabe? Would you recommend somebody doing this, or
Yeah. Well, if they were going to do it, what would they need to know?
is it going to pick up the
Nothing
mic?
ever is going to be perfect,
Right.
first and foremost.
Okay. So get perfection off the list.
Just throw that in the trash.
Okay, start over from
It'll
there.
never be perfect. If you do with somebody, know that you can tolerate them for more than a day, especially if they're in your ear for the majority of the day.
Right. I was gonna say, and I never did get the chance to ask you. He
Chip,
doesn't
do you want to
stop.
sit? Do you want to sit here?
Is it
for
like a
minute?
rolling gig? Is
You
it?
know, Gabe hasn't been on your show.
Oh, well, put him on my show.
Now let's switch for a second.
It's your channel. Put him on. Put him
Hey,
on. Your...
Gabe, come over here.
Can I even fit big guy problem?
Yeah. Well, third world problem over here.
I'm not calming down. My bad. This is what I get in my ear.
Yeah. Yeah. But see, this running dialogue, it's either incredibly entertaining or it's got to sound like white noise eventually, right? What are you breaking? Are you breaking my
See,
stuff?
I can't fit.
You're doing great. And now you know why they call him Big Abe. Welcome to the Tab Performance Studios and Indian Rider Radio via the Ridingfish channel.
Via, yep.
Yeah.
Live on Ridingfish for the past couple hours now.
Yeah. Well, these drunken people will go back to bed eventually.
Let's see what we got here.
Talk to us.
We have. BJ says that we keep waking him up.
Well,
You
God
can
damn
s-
it,
You
BJ.
can see it on the screen. You don't have to look at my.
Time for game. There we go. Hey, people are calling you out. Child of the true king wants to see you.
Child of the true king.
Yeah, wait, right? Let's see. Child of
It's one true.
first true or one true.
Oh, the one true king. Okay. Does that have anything to do with like the Iron Throne or any of that nonsense?
I don't
Okay,
know.
here we go. Good question.
Okay.
Oh God.
Coming from child. Gabe, when are you getting an Indian? BJ just dropped the LOL instantly.
I can tell you this for a fact, and I barely know the man. Gabriel's a Harley guy, pretty much through and through.
Yes, that is 100% correct. And
I
I have my reasons. And would you guys like to know?
We're not telling you you can't have a Harley. But what if Indian came out with this bombass.com?
Right, that you couldn't live without.
Yeah, say the Pan America falls through. They never get it. An Indian somehow comes up with an adventure bike. And we pick up his. I've been asking you about 100 times to go down every dirt road on our baggers this trip.
Right.
The answer was always, "I'll wait for you here."
Well, have you seen his bike? It's a gorgeous bike.
It
There's
is
places
gorgeous.
that you can go. I felt bad when we were up on the top of the mountain and the wind was beating us to death. I thought, oh man, the poor guy's paint. You know.
That's the only
We're
bad
not
thing about getting
we're
such
not gonna go into the paint right now.
He took a chip to the
Oh.
finger.
It's literally about the size of a dime.
Okay. So he grinds stuff off. You get chipped up. Yeah. But worth it? I mean, tell me seriously. This was one of those once in a lifetime things, right?
I did not know if it was or was not going to be worth it until the end. But yes, I believe it was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when am I going to get to do this again? I'm in my 30s. As he's pointed out several
Yeah.
times, it's not going to get any easier.
No. No.
And so,
Well, like I was thinking about that the other day. In fact, Debbie and I were talking about it. She's like, how far are these guys gone? I said, well, at that time I figured you had to have been at the 6,000 or 7,000 mile mark. She says, could you do that? And I said, honest to God, I don't know anymore. You know, I could spend a long day on the bike. I just don't know if I could string 30 of them together. You know, damn.
Well, we had the 7-day break.
Yeah.
And
that made a big
Yeah,
difference.
Gabe
Yeah.
he was over me a little bit.
I can, yeah.
By that day.
I was, let me phrase it in. I needed a little separation from you.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
Dude, I'm a lot. I always say I'm a lot.
I'm like, I guess I married you for a month, and
Yeah.
pretty much how I put it. And then I needed a separation for a week.
Yeah. I'll bring you papers if I need to.
So Adventure says that you should join the cool kids.
The cool kids with the Indians and the fancy commercials.
Somebody has to do
with you
cowboys.
pulling ice cream trucks
Hey.
Taco truck- or taco trucks.
Obviously.
I actually obviously
Yeah.
didn't really watch it.
He paid no attention. You know
No,
that I'm looking
no.
now at the video. The video actually looks pretty good. Our camera came through for us after all.
No.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
when I was growing up, and I'm gonna tell you this story. This is why I stick with Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
Harley Davidson was the king, pretty much.
Sure.
You got like,
It
and
is really.
and-
I mean, right now, by strictly just name,
yeah,
it's the facts.
Go for it.
and growing up in the '90s, especially, my father was a big motorcycle rider. It's the
Yeah.
reason why my brother does it, my mother does it, and I do it.
Yeah.
So he could not afford a Harley. There was even commercial. I remember when those commercials used to come on. He's like, if only I can afford that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then for some strange luck, I was able to afford my first 2011 Street Bob and was able to upgrade it.
Yeah.
And from then on, I was like, I need a bigger bike. I need more. So I went to the Road Glide when the Milwaukee 8 first came out.
Yeah.
But that first initial seed is what started my journey through Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's how it is with a lot of, let's quote them, my generation.
Sure. Yeah.
Because they grew up seeing Harley Davidsons and stuff like that. The harder part is Harley Davidson needs to go back and figure out how to stick with
How to
the-
keep you on board.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the newer generation coming back in.
Well, but you're a little bit the exception because a lot of those guys, and I met hundreds of them on the showroom floors. My dad rode a Harley. I don't want to ride a Harley. You know, they were looking for something different and that they could make their unique. They weren't willing to. There's not as many that wanted to carry that tradition along, and I didn't have that other rider in my world, so whatever came up next was the right choice. But there are guys like yourself that have made a commitment to the brand because it has some other deeper meaning or some other different importance to them. That's absolutely the way. That's totally cool. You know, it's also a little old school. So nice to have you along, man. He looks a lot younger than I would have guessed.
I
but-
am the youngest person in this room right now.
Well, see, I wouldn't have thought that. No, he's way more mature than me. What are you talking about? Jesus.
I met his mom. Yeah, she's a strong woman. Will put that big guy in place.
Well, that's what they're there for. That's what moms do.
All right, so we're breaking it down.
'Kay.
Everybody's saying on here multiple times, you do not have to get rid of a Harley, but you have to buy a second bike that has to be an Indian. What are you getting?
That is a difficult question to answer. The only way I would get an Indian,
Okay.
it wouldn't even be a Challenger because there would be no reason. It would be the Jack Daniels single barrel edition. Was it the Springfield?
Yeah.
And the reason being is I'm gonna make that a show bike.
Yeah.
Meaning
Take it.
not only am I gonna keep all the add-ons, but I'm also gonna soup it up even more and take it to shows. That would be the only reason to do.
Not
that.
to mention that maybe he could leverage a little gentleman jackery out of the deal every now and then, right? Go wrong with that. By the way, you left that single barrel here when you were here last time. It didn't last long. Just saying.
All right, so we got another question. and
Go.
This was kind of to all of us, but I'm gonna point this directly
At me.
at you. Yeah. What direction do you think Harley needs to do, or what that they need to do to it, fix things, or what do they need to change specifically?
Oh wow.
What would you say?
That would
Because
be
you're a motorcycle guy. You
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
that would be a hard question to answer in the fact that I don't know what they're thinking now.
Yeah.
That-
Now you just push the button. That's the key. They haven't got when you got one oar in the water and you're kind of scrambling. Yeah. You're struggling. Can I throw in my 2 cents at this
Yeah.
point? Okay. Harley Davidson has got to stop selling stuff to me. They have to They have to reach out to that built not bought guy. They have to reach out to cafe racer guys. They got to sit down with guys that would never go in the room with Harley Davidson and talk to them. And they've got to clean up their image. They sold the rebel biker image, you know. Well, guess what? I considered myself a biker, but I'm now at the place where I kind of consider myself a gentleman biker, you know. And you can't keep selling me the same thing and expect me to swallow it. You know, you could change the skin on something a million times. You could build another part spin motorcycle, but if you keep doing that, you are eventually going to run the course, and guys are going to get tired of it. The breakout, people lose their shit over the breakout. It's a goddamn part spin motorcycle. All the components of that motorcycle can be found anywhere else across the line. Stop doing that. Ask General Motors how well that worked for them. When they kept building the same cars with different names, they failed. This is the same here. If you don't if you don't find ways to bring new people to the fold and listen to the young rider, listen to the star bobbers, listen to the beardeds, listen to those guys traveling to listen to all those younger guys and say, "Hey, what how did we miss you? What did we do wrong?" They're going to say things like, "It's old school tech. My dad rode one. I don't like the look. It's not this, it's not that." Just going to take time until until that company can reposition itself and listen to the young voices again. I told Star in my interview, I'm thrilled that there's new people coming back into the fold, because there was a time when heavyweight motorcycle riding looked like it was going to go the way of the dinosaur. You know, all of us old cats were going to age out and there wasn't going to be any of you. Now look at you. Y'all are having a good time.
Great time.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time. So you want to know, Gabe, big thing. What's your big complaint about me, Gabe? So I keep going like, let's go.
This trip hasn't been much of a complaint per se.
I think your big thing was you just wanted to get off the bike for a couple of days. I think your
Yeah.
thing to me was, I just want to lay on the couch.
Yeah.
we
right.
we
yeah,
started hard and fast.
right.
Yeah, so our first 25 hours we did 1,000 miles, and that's counting the sleep and everything.
Well, yeah. You guys told me you were in
Yeah.
Arkansas one day, you slept in Kansas, and next thing I know, you're at my front door. You know, so I mean, you didn't waste any time doing that.
So it was boom, boom, boom. And my understanding was, let's just relax, take your time. If we get to here at a certain time, we don't have to worry. But when I go back to what I said earlier, whenever you're planning something out like this,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't expect perfect.
No.
And if you do, you're setting yourself up for failure.
It's just kind of like when we left Arkansas, we didn't get that far up the road before the weather turned on us.
Yeah.
And we called it a day a little earlier than we originally had planned. And
But there was times when you were trying to get certain places by certain times, and then
Yeah.
that changes the whole.
yeah, so we had
Yeah.
that first jump where we needed to be here in Colorado Springs. So we needed to get down to Arkansas. We needed to get back here.
Right.
So that was kind of a big jump right away. And then after that, we met up with Matt and Jeremy, and we wanted to have a good time, but then we lost a day to weather here.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that kind of like
Everything got
twisted things.
got jammed up on you.
Yeah, but then after it chilled out. It kind of chilled out. We took a couple of easier days, edited or whatever. But then it was, well, we should get our asses to San Diego.
Yeah.
That's what happened was the most direct routes. Once we started going, hey, we need to go do this,
Mhm.
kept taking us through hard areas of riding.
Yeah.
The desert.
Yeah.
Originally, we wanted to do coastline, stay away from. This is my thought.
Yeah.
And it did. It made things more exhausting. And same thing coming here.
Yeah.
We kind of got over it, but then it's like, well, then we're gonna have to ride really hard
Yeah.
to stay out of the heat, or we can ride through the heat, but we don't have to ride as hard.
Yeah.
But then it's still just as hard because we're fighting.
Yeah. It wears on you. Yeah. By the end of the day, you're not comfortable. You can't. You don't rest. You just collapse. Yeah. It's a whole different feeling. Yeah.
All right. I can't talk anymore because
Well, they can't hear. Well, This is what I get for buying, good microphones.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Take the foam off.
You want to see what these look like?
Let's see what they-
It's loud as shit. No, they're they're unidirectional. Yeah. So like even when it was sitting in your lap the other day when you were talking, because it wasn't right at it, you couldn't work. So there. How's that noise for you in your ear?
Just waking people up.
So,
So
what I was saying,
yeah,
what was I saying? I was saying that when we were going through the hard
yeah.
weather, it took a lot of energy out of us.
Well, you'd already been worn down from being on the road all the time. Then you get the heat, and yeah, that's just brutal. Oh, look at that. That's a good looking photo. Is that us?
It is us.
Nice.
I'm trying to
There's a
pull
little
up
delay there.
There we go. All right, guys, you can hear me better now.
Yeah, we can hear him.
I need a third mic. So, God of the true King, he's
Okay.
referring to Jesus Christ. That's true.
Oh, okay.
So it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought he was like, giving props to like
Yeah,
his father.
Right. I
or
thought
something.
that maybe Dad was getting some round of applause there.
Oh, I was about to comment under you. But yeah, so we got to get you on an adventure. You want to do that? If we go to India next year, you're gonna be adventuring.
Of course, that was what the plan was.
Oh,
The original plan was to go to the Himalayan mountains and ride through the pass on a little Himalayan bike.
oh my God.
That I was like,
Could you imagine
how
what
is this
Gabe
gonna
is the
work?
rest of us are the rest of us all saying it wrong? Himalayas versus Himalaya.
So
Somebody told us that that's the proper way to say it.
So we went to Go Moto in
Okay.
Minneapolis. They're the Himalayan dealer.
Himalayan. Okay.
Well, no, they're the Royal Enfield dealer that sells Himalayans.
Okay.
And we did a sit down with them and just kind of like talk to them. And we sat on the bikes and just kind of did a whole thing. And it was the way I announced, like, hey, Ridingfish and Big Gabe are going to go to India. And they told me it is Himalayan.
Okay.
Well, who might argue with them? It's kind of their gig,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you would think so.
Yeah.
You're
So we have made an effort to say Himalayan.
right. Okay. So, like David Attenborough was wrong when he calls them the Himalayas.
Listen,
I thought it was right too. I don't know.
we called
Right?
it the Himalayas.
Right.
And they corrected me.
So they
Maybe-
squared you up on it.
Yeah. So maybe maybe that's how Indians say it, Himalayan, and that's why they say it that way.
Okay.
Someone say in the comments if what.
Yeah, help us
what's
out.
right.
Is it the Himalayas or is it the Himalayans?
Yeah.
What-
How do you?
yeah. What's the story on that?
Himalayans or Himalayans? I don't know how you would spell the difference either, but first way or second way. BJ says that's one thing about traveling by himself. It allows him to change directions when he wants to. That's true. It does open up a lot of stuff.
Right.
But imagine, BJ, if it was like, hey, but come visit me in Minnesota on this day,
Yeah.
and then we get a rain day. But yeah, you got to be out here to visit,
Right.
Curtis a couple days later.
Yeah.
It just kind of changes things a little bit, even when you're by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a lot of touring by myself at different times, but it was because I had X amount of time and I just wanted to go fill it. I didn't have maybe a general idea of destination, but I wasn't in any hurry. There was no timelines, and that's the way I enjoyed it most.
Okay, we got a couple more things coming
Shoot.
on. I started throwing these guys a bunch of stuff. They're helping us out.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. First of all, they're saying that they think it's Himalayan.
Okay.
Whatever. You guys are my peeps. I'll call it Himalayan. But in respect to Go Moto, if I go there to buy, I'm gonna call it a Himalayan.
You're-
So there we go. All right, that's what
Okay,
it is.
fair enough.
So
All
right
right.
now to my
Yeah.
peeps is Himalayan.
Okay.
So that's one. Bearded is asking you a question.
Okay.
Mr. Radio.
Mr. Radio.
I don't know who that would be. What is your best tip for traveling? Your favorite things that you have used to help traveling?
Okay. Like as in gear that I use or that I wear or that I just like to do.
He didn't really specify.
Okay, here's a really easy tip. And this is one that I learned a long time ago. You were talking about the bag in your saddlebag. Okay. You just take everything you pack in modern grocery bags, the cheap, Walmart bags. Socks are in one, unders in another, your shaving kit or whatever. Because now when you pull them out of the saddlebag, you can pull them out one at a time. You don't have to take everything. Okay. If you got them laid out so that you know where they kind of generally are, there always goes back in the same spot and you know what you're missing or what you're out of. That's just an organizational thing, but it was super easy because I didn't need to jank everything out of the bag or dig to the bottom. I go, oh, it's right about here. Grab that bag, pull that bag out. That was really convenient. The other thing I learned about traveling for me that it's helped a ton is I layer up just to the point where I'm comfortable with what I'm wearing. Anything more, anything less. If I'm that, you'll hear me say I'm a layer off. I'm one layer off.
Yeah.
And if I get, but I try to layer up to where I want to be, and then where I can peel stuff off and work, and not have to carry a shit ton of stuff with me.
That's good advice. So Child says that a lot of punctuations are changing with the younger generations because our education is lacking.
Oh, pronunciations are changing because education is lacking.
Yeah.
Way too heavy duty for this shit.
Yeah.
We're riding motorcycles, bro. Okay, at 2:30 in the morning. So if you're going to go into the whole esoterica thing and the whole that, no, I'm going to drink more water and ignore both of you.
All right. They also said there's some questions that didn't get answered.
Such as,
Let's see. Give me a second.
long walks on the beach, Sagittarius. Yeah. Italian food.
I'm a Libra.
I'm an Aries.
You know.
Do Aries and Libras, are they allowed to marry?
Boy, I don't know because
Time to give.
you're not finding it.
Indian and Indian. No, I'm kind of. Hey, like copy and paste it. Yeah. Will you do that for me?
Yeah,
Child?
somebody.
I'm sure you could do that pretty easily. I will get to it right away. It says that a lot of people want to be different than their dads.
Right. And that was the point I was making is that even if motorcycling was something that was in your world, a lot of guys rejected, well, if my dad did this and I might do it, but I want it to be mine. I want to do it differently. Trying to get away maybe from that heritage. It's a huge thing in terms of how Indian and Polaris, Harley Davidson, and many of the other manufacturers market to these new audiences is they play on those points. Indians use that kind of edgy look and the built not bought theme and the accessibility of a lot of things to make the Scout unique, whether it's the Bobber 20, the Scout itself, whatever. You can really mod that thing out to fit how you want to use it. So it doesn't fit that old school mode. It's not that kind of bike. But it's the same theme, just a different approach to what maybe how our dads or whatever got into it. They learned from somebody who then they decided, well, I'll be a little bit different from them, and then the next guy will be a little bit different. So the modern millennial and I want to say not millennial necessarily entirely, but younger rider generations, probably that U90s kids, if you will, you guys have now taken it and said, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, I want to do this, but I want it to have a different look, feel, and mean something a little different than what it did to my dad. My dad was the gray beard and the leather jacket. And, I want to do a little something different. Okay. And that's where a lot of the marketing dollars and advertising dollars go, because until they figure out how to reach you guys consistently, they can't sell you anything, but they got to resonate with you. That's why people like Star, the look, being edgy, being young, knowing her bike, changing her bike, modding it out. She literally is the walking, talking embodiment. You are what the new modern rider is. So that's why it's different.
So they're asking a little bit about the FTR. They think it should be a 1200 on here.
Which the FDR is a 1200.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to make the Yeah, you're right. Well, it is an F. They hit that one on the button.
Yeah.
The other one is there's talk about the 108 and like a Springfield.
I think you're more likely to see that 108 fall into what would be kind of Indian's version of maybe like a Dyna, if you think of the Harley segment. You guys remember what's the name of the bike? It escapes me now. Victory built it towards the end of their run. Um, the model name escaped me, but anyway, it was one of those bikes that was kind of that intermediate size. It was not too small, not too big, real easy to ride, comfortable bike, pretty simple. The Gunner, Victory Gunner. Now, what if you had that concept sitting back kind of in the wings, and you could bulk it up just a little bit and put that bigger motor in? Now you got something that you could get with, okay? Because if it's going to be a little more austere or simple like a Dyna, it now becomes another one that you can customize and make your own, and still have the power and ride capabilities that you might not have with something else. Because again, you're never going to outgrow a Scout. I mean, you can override it, you can over muscle it, but technologically, anybody from beginner to expert could ride that bike. I
Yeah.
think there needs to be just one more step up that allows for some customization, but still is a full time powerful bike.
And the 108 would be a perfect motor
Oh,
for that.
ideal. Yeah.
So here's the big one. What are our thoughts about Harley and Indian and their ridiculous prices on parts? Example he uses here is air cleaners for $400.
Right. You want to know the answer inside the industry, or do you want to just spitball it? Right.
People are willing to pay it.
Right. You're building motorcycles. You're not building accessories. So a lot of that is farmed out to somebody else who's building or making those. Okay. And I'm not saying it's across the board, but there's third parties that get involved in creating some of that other stuff.
So let's talk about instead of an air cleaner, let's say a backrest, right?
Okay.
So you think that's the same thing? Those are probably outsourced.
Some probably are, not necessarily all. Depends on who's doing what at the time and what they have resources to throw at. But let's assume that Indian contracts with somebody to make that backrest. Okay. They can't make a shit ton of them. They can't have them sitting in warehouses everywhere. They got to estimate about how many they need, which is not like an aftermarket manufacturer who can make them forever and make them in bulk and make them cheap someplace and then export them or import them in numbers. They're making limited quantities and hoping they run out so that they can make another limited quantity. Because to have that stuff sitting on the shelves just costs money. So that's why the OEMs always charge more for their stuff. There is less of it to begin with. Okay.
Well, that's so in that way you would think of it. It's just direct supply and demand. They're
Correct.
not pumping them out.
Right.
I mean, that's a good point.
Oh wow,
I'm-
they all went quiet on me.
I'm
did you?
I'm starting to see a lot more of Indian getting a little more expensive too.
Oh yeah,
Oh, they're exactly.
yeah, and they've been proud of their stuff from the jump. But you know why? Because again, there were so few choices with the aftermarket to begin with. So we have a captive market. Why not? Let's go take it. That's just good business. Um, and now, if you want something that is logoed and specifically made for that bike for that reason, now you still have that choice. But finally, the aftermarket's catching up to a place where you can put almost anything now on any of the heavyweights. Doesn't have to be an Indian product anymore. But for a while, they were the only game in town.
Yeah, and so Child followed that up with what he just thinks that they would sell more if their prices were more competitive. But I wonder if that's when Indian
Maybe
needs to
that's not the
decide-
goal.
Yeah, maybe that's where they're trying to decide.
Right.
Are we gonna do?
Yeah,
Have these aftermarkets. I mean, it does kind of suck a little bit that if they're gonna offer them, you would think they would try to roll it out.
yeah, and yes, they want to sell that product because it's a big part of their it's a big part of dealers' profitability. It's a big part of corporate profitability. But again, let's look at Indian as they're rapidly evolving. Okay, parts, accessories, all that stuff. How much money do you want to pour into something that you might not use, that might not sell, or might not be functional 2 years from now because that model disappeared? Only make so many.
Yeah, people in the aftermarket business, they can move and pivot on a dime a lot
Sure.
easier.
Yeah.
Than
But let's take somebody like I'm gonna use the names. Let's compare somebody like Tab Performance to Vance and Hines. Okay, Vance and Hines sells thousands and thousands and thousands of exhaust systems around the world every day. Okay, Tab doesn't, but Tab will give you the they take a little more to make their product. They charge a little more. The fit and finish is a little better. The long term quality is better. So if I spend a little bit more money, great, I've got a better product and I can keep it and it lasts longer. But if tomorrow a new motorcycle came out, it would take Vance and Hines maybe weeks, months to get re-geared, retooled, do the R&D. Maybe it'd be a year out. Or somebody like Tab could go down to the local dealer and make a few measurements and go, "We got this." You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I mean, I'm exaggerating on both fronts, but I think that it allows the smaller, more nimble companies that can move faster because they're just smaller can do that.
BJ just says real proud, but I'm not exactly sure where he's.
Oh, yeah, they're proud of them, is what I said in terms of their pricing. Yeah, BJ, no shit. I mean, they ask a crap ton. Why is an air intake $500? Because it says their name on it, and if you want your bike to be uniform, it's got their name on it. If you want to have other parts on it, well, you can spend less for that. But
Yeah, hang on, hold this for a second. I gotta
Yeah.
fix my image.
what, your stuff's out of whack?
Yeah, my whole body's all jacked up.
Oh, come on now.
By the way, I just happened to be wearing the logo.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, do I need to do some push-ups or something?
probably something. Yeah, this is the T-shirt, by the way. I have a limited run left of them. Small logo on the front, logo across the back. I got a very limited number of these, and I was trying to part with them through this. Wow, holy Jesus!
Did you get
Put them away.
Okay.
Hang on. What, did you get it?
Yes, we got it.
You guys got that? Let me do it again for you guys. The logo.
It's 2:30 in the morning. This is why this is happening.
Okay.
What do you think
Yeah.
we should call this a day, guys?
Yeah, we got to wrap it.
Let's wrap it.
Well, I need to be a producer again.
Okay,
so-
you're producing.
Oh yeah, somebody has to turn this off. Thank you, Big Gabe. Mucho gracias, señor. Ay, papi. That's just normal everyday talk. That's also normal everyday
Wow.
talk.
Friday at 2:30.
Sir,
Are we getting thrown out of here? Is that what's happening?
I think it's time to go home.
Okay. Well, it's my studio. It's
You don't
your
have to go
show.
home, but you can't stay here.
Right. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Well, it's unfortunate because I can't walk.
Hey, adventure, stay classy, dog. BJ, from beginning to end, thank you so much.
Yep.
Child of the one true king, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Let's see, everybody else, I appreciate you guys too. We both appreciate you.
Hey, Bearded, I'm going to reach out to you sometime soon because, well, I am.
Yeah, I was telling them how kick-ass of a guy you are. So, yeah. Other than that, check out Indian Rider Radio if you have not. Go to trustnoonclothing.com also.
Yeah.
We all love our tab performance.
Yep.
Let's keep on loving them. Bearded has zombies on his.
He does?
He does.
Oh, man. It's
yeah.
got to be.
Yeah. So there's rumors that there might be some other stuff going on too with tab performance with him. So
Imagine that.
that'd be awesome.
That would be super awesome. Well, guys, thank you. Listen to, Indian Rider Radio. Check out Ridingfish online anywhere, all the time on YouTube.
My YouTube.
If there is if what he shot is even close to what we saw on our trip up Pikes Peak and some of the other stuff that we did, you are going to get some killer videos. So I would strongly recommend, if you are not a subscriber to Ridingfish, why the hell not? It's a simple button. You click it, then there's a bell up there. It says notifications. Hit that too.
Hang on. So Bobber announced on here 212. His
Wait,
exact
what?
cat delete 212.
Oh,
Let me get a cat delete 212 up in the house.
check.
Let's see. BJ says, "Don't get me wrong, I still pay for it." Oh, homie, don't we all?
Amen, brother.
I'm the first one to say it, but when I lined up for the purchase of the Challenger, I was just like, let's just make this nice and easy. I don't want to search Revzilla all day long.
Right.
And sometimes you get you didn't exactly say it like this, but sometimes you get a little bit of what you pay for. So
Yeah.
that is a true thing.
Yeah.
BJ, we've also enjoyed it. Other than that, let's just really drop this. Ride hard, ride fast, stay classy.
Right. And say hi to somebody you don't know.
That's right. Awkward dead air, dude.